Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Butcher Reds here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by our good friends over at Prize Picks. The final day of Raiders practice before their preseason game up against the 49ers. Their final preseason practice before roster cut-down day on August 30th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you do not know, I'm going to be live at least 2 hours before cut-down, so I expect y'all to subscribe, and I expect all y'all to be here as we trim this roster down to the 53 men. So, what we're going to be talking about today on the program, obviously we're going to go through Raiders training camp practice today, some updates on Ashton Jeanty, and then anything else that goes down around the silver and black and anything around the NFL. I got Clint Kubiak presser reactions, tons of stuff to get into. But because this is the final preseason game, let's talk about some players on the hot seat that need to perform well in this final preseason game, some roster bubble candidates that I'm really personally rooting for, and then a Raiders 49ers preview. Let's face the facts. I know it's a preseason game, but this game means a lot to a lot of the people out in the Bay, and I'm going to give some keys to victory on offense and on defense, keys that I want to see as a fan. Quite frankly, I don't care if we win or not. I do want to beat the 49ers, I'm not going to lie to you, but there's that other part to me where I'm like, I want to see a team that shows improvement. So you're going to know what I'm looking for in that preseason game. And then at the very end of the show, somebody's going to get in my fantasy football league today, and somebody's going to win some money in the duck race. We'll talk about all the deals coming up in just a moment. But the number one thing that I wanted to talk about today is Ashton Jeanty. He did not practice, and he left Sunday's practice early with a right leg injury. We now know it to be an ankle injury. And even though Clint Kubiak doesn't want to talk about it, and we know that Jeanty is on the mend, which I feel like I haven't heard that expression in a very long time. My grandmother used to say it. I feel like it's an older expression, which it probably fits Clint Kubiak almost too well. But for Jeanty, not practicing today, didn't expect him to be out there and practicing. But I don't know if any of y'all saw the video that I put out on the Raiders Report earlier today, and I did. I said yesterday on the show that I had a source tell me that Jeanty could be ready for week one. Like, hearing that statement out loud, yeah, I was kind of like, are you sure? And then yesterday, I also saw Adam Schefter say that he heard that, if it's just a sprained ankle, it could be best case scenario. The Raiders don't know if he's going to miss any time. So for Schefter to say that, then for Ian Rappaport come out today and go more low than high. His status for week one is still up in the air. The fact that Rap Sheet is even mentioning, the fact that Ashton Jeanty has a shot to play week one. I know that just how nervous I was on Sunday when I got the notification around Jeanty, because I think a lot of people were going, crap. Is this a serious injury? Is this something that we should be worried about? Well, the good news is this. It looks like Jeanty's going to be okay, not to say that he's going to be ready to go for week one. So here's my first question to all y'all out there, and this is how the Raiders Report goes. I'm going to ask you guys questions throughout the majority of this live program today. I got 3 segments on tap, and if you expect me to talk, I expect you guys to answer, right? That's how it goes. So how many games do you think Ashton Jeanty will miss? Do you think he's going to miss week one? Type 1. If you think he's going to miss the first 2 games of the season, type 2. If you think, hey, man, he's not missing any football games, then type 0 down below. We got 19 days, y'all. 19 days until the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Miami Dolphins. Week 1 action. The fact that it's only 19 days away, it's kind of crazy. And I just don't know if he's going to be ready to go by then. I will admit, I said when I believe he's going to be ready to go in the video that I dropped earlier today, but I see Luda Sigler's going to go with a 1. No Slokeland's going to go 0. King Zay's going to go with a 2. Blue Richards here in the building is going to be typing 1 down below, and I see a lot of different answers out there. Well, for those of you that do not know, I tried and I succeeded, but I tried and succeeded because Raider Nation tried and they succeeded. My promise this was yesterday that I had told all y'all, hey, I'm going to try to convince my bosses to do 20% off on a flash sale for Ashton Jeanty. Well, here's the thing. This sale will end the moment that today's live show is over. So as long as we're live, this is how long the Ashton Jeanty shirts are going to be 20% off. And, I got my Jeanty jersey on today. My cousin sent me this last month. Shout out to my cousin Andrew. But I wanted to wear my Jeanty shirt today, and I wanted to wear my Jeanty shirt jersey. Well, I wanted to wear my Jeanty shirt yesterday. Sorry, it's the one that you guys see. And I wore my Jeanty jersey today because I am so thankful. And Kubiak said, like, the power of prayer. I'm not going to get into all this different religion, but I am a big believer that in good vibes. I'm a big believer that when you put good energy out into the world, good stuff happens. And I know there's a lot of Raiders fans that were putting a lot of good energy out into the world the other day, and that's my number one objective here for Raider Nation, to create a show that's fun, it's entertaining, but a show that's also going to make Raider Nation better in terms of being a fan base, being a smarter fan base, being, a family. That's something that I really, really want to see, and I love how much Raider fans have been rallying around Ashton Jeanty. So I'm doing a Jeanty deal. Unfortunately, the bosses said that deal has to end at the end of today's live show. So if you want the shirt that you see up on screen, go to chatsports.com/RR2 or chatsports.com/RR shop. All right, y'all, we got more training camp news and notes to get into here in just a second. But if you don't know already, today's show is sponsored by our good friends PrizePicks. Use code HMA to be able to get $150 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, but you gotta win. If you win that first lineup, that's how you get that $150 in lineups. Today is Tuesday, and for those that do not know, that means Taco Tuesday. Throughout the day on Tuesdays, PrizePicks releases multiple discounted player projections called tacos that are marked with a taco icon. These discounted projections make players more selective, more favorable than the standard projection. Each taco is only available for a limited time before rotating to a new discounted projection, encouraging users to check the app throughout the day. Users can include these discounted picks in any lineup alongside of their favorite selection. So today I saw Paige Beckers was the taco here for PrizePicks. Now, I have not gotten a lineup in yet today, and I only say that because I have been waiting, and I don't know when PrizePicks is going to get me more or lesses on the Raiders 49ers preseason game, but I've been waiting, and I've been looking, and I am hoping and hoping. I do know that team picks are available on PrizePicks because right now, if you wanted to, you could pick the Raiders to beat the 49ers. I guess if you wanted to take the 49ers to beat the Raiders, that right now is on PrizePicks at the moment I'm making this video. If you're like, Mitch, I'm watching the Raiders preseason game with you, I need to get a lineup in. Right now, the only thing that they have is team picks. Only Raiders. You can go spread. You can do that. Once I get a lineup, I promise you, you guys are going to see my lineup. And if you want to follow me on PrizePicks, which I just learned that we are doing this. So you guys know the Capital One Bowl? Like the Capital One Cup, like that college football does every year. Well, I just found out we're kind of doing one here at Chat Sports, and we're calling it the Chat Sports PrizePicks Champion. Essentially, the way that you can be a PrizePicks champion is whoever has the most follows on PrizePicks. Again, I know that some people are going to care about this, and I know some people are only here for Ashton Jeanty update Raiders news, but to all the real ones, to everybody that supports this show, to everybody that supports me, to everybody that supports Chat Sports, when you give me a follow on PrizePicks, it does. It helps me out because it shows my bosses, and it shows PrizePicks. We value Mitchell Renz's opinion, and if I have more followers than everybody else, obviously that helps me out a lot. So help me win the PrizePicks Championship. I saw Lopez put that up on screen, and before the show, I was talking to him about it, and yeah, I just found out, just like all of y'all are probably just finding out. I love PrizePicks, and if you want to play along with me, use code HMA to get $150 if you win your first $5 lineup over at PrizePicks. So since we are live here on the Raiders Report today, I am about to get into some more training camp news. Like I said, I got 3 segments on tap. I got hot seat candidates. I got players on the roster bubble. I got keys to victory for Clint Kubiak. There is tons, and I mean tons of stuff to be able to get into on the program today. I will go through the deals here on the show as well, and most of the deals are pretty straightforward for what we typically do here on the Raiders Report. And then at the end, somebody's going to get into my fantasy football league, somebody's going to get into my duck race, but we've already had a few super chats if we could get to them. If you want to get those questions or comments on the show, hashtag Raiders or super chat to skip the line. I already have an entire show ready from start to finish, and that show is going to go The only way that we put a little stop in that show is if you guys send in a question, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat, like Isaac Hernandez, throwing it up there. Let's get this party started. Isaac, shout out to you. I saw down in the comments before the show started that you're back now available during the week. I know like over the past few weeks, you haven't been able to tune in as often. I know you've been working. I know you listen all the time, but you've been a part of the show for a really, really long time, dude. And obviously, when I see Isaac show up here 30 minutes before live happens, of course, I'm a normal guy just like all of y'all, and I want you guys to be excited to do shows because obviously I'm excited to do the shows. Sherlock, what's going on, man? 101 needs the crown. I want other Raiders fans to succeed and support One Nation. Sherlock, 101, my guy Isaac Hernandez is a real one. Sherlock is a real one. And I think at the end of the day, people that are watching this program, if you see each other, support each other, be happier. Sherlock, you did get a raffle ticket. For those of you that don't know what the deals on the program today are, every 100 likes, we're going to give away a raffle ticket for a chance to get in my fantasy football league. And here's the thing. We're going to give away that entry at the end of the show today. I know it's only August 25th, but next Tuesday, that's September 1st. So I have to be able to do this raffle in August, and just with everything else that's going to be happening throughout the week, preseason game, cut down day, I just don't know when I'm going to be able to do it. So today, somebody's going to get into my fantasy football league, and if you send in a $5 super chat, you're going to get one fantasy raffle ticket. If you want a shot to win a little bit of money, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Rents 365, you're going to be able to win some money. If anybody takes advantage of the deal right now of the shirts for Ashton Jeanty, if you buy an Ashton Jeanty shirt today, which, by the way, are 20% off, I'm going to give you 2 raffle tickets to get in my fantasy league. Whoever bangs the most the month of August, you get in, but right now I'm just going to warn you. It's Jerry Danley, it's Lord Cameron Abbott, and nobody else is all that close. So let's keep moving here. Through the Raiders practice news from today, Ashton Jeanty did not practice, and if you want Clint Kubiak to talk about it, tough luck, Sherlock. What about Dante Thornton Jr.? He did not practice today, and I reported yesterday, again, the word reported, the word said, I use both of them because I don't look at myself as a reporter, but if I say something on this show, it's me kind of reporting or whatever the hell you want to talk about it. But I was told yesterday, or I reported yesterday, I was told earlier that the Raiders are starting to have some conversations about potentially putting Dante Thornton Jr. on the short-term IR, which put him out the first 4 weeks of the season. Though you'd be able to keep him on the roster spot, you're allowed to have 2 players on the IR to keep on your roster. So if they don't want to release him, but they want to keep him on the team first 4 weeks and then make a decision, could be something to monitor. Chase Roberts, UDFA wide receiver, he did not practice. He did not participate. So just, something to think about, something to just throw out there. Carter Runyon, tight end, also did not practice today, which I don't really think too many people are all that surprised about, just for the simple fact of Runyon really hasn't been somebody that's been out there all that much. In fact, I couldn't even tell you the last time he even practiced. And, for Runyon, it's kind of frustrating, and I know that he's probably frustrated in this. He was a wide receiver from Townsend, and he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So I would say the real notable ones on here, and again, it's not a disrespect to Chase Roberts and Carter Runyon, but the notable ones here are Ashton Jeanty, Dante Thornton Jr. Those are the more notable notes there from practice today. Some other NFL news, and I just sent you something if you could build it for me. Some other news that I just wanted to bring up for Raider Nation out there. I saw this from Jordan Schultz, and again, not everything that gets reported is a direct correlation to Raider Nation. However, I don't know how many people remember me talking about Gervon Dexter before, but when I went to the NFL Combine, I had multiple sources talk to me about the Raiders being somewhat interested in Gervon Dexter. Now, I find the timing of this to be a little bit interesting, and if you don't remember the Dexter rumors, the Dexter trade rumors, look up Gervon Dexter Raiders report. Look up trade rumors. You're going to see stuff pop up right around the NFL Combine. And I can literally remember sitting down at the desk at the Combine, getting several updates, and Jordan's probably one of the top insiders that I personally talk to around the NFL. Jordan and I have had a good conversations. We've had a good relationship over the past few years. I got a lot of respect for him. He sends me a lot of good, notes and stuff. But the Raiders were a team that was interested in Vita Vea. So, to me, I know that I always say where there's smoke, there's fire, but the fact that Schultz is reporting that the Bears have had trade discussions involving Gervon Dexter and multiple scenarios, I wonder if the Raiders are a team that is doing their homework, right? If the Raiders did their homework on Vita Vea, and if the Raiders were a team that was linked to Dexter all the way back in March, I guess it would be, right? End of February, beginning of March, I am very, very interested on what this story could turn into. I am. I'm very interested in it. What's up, Rebel? What's up, Blue Richards, Ludus Sigla, Navman here in the building. If you want a shout out here on the Raiders Report, I greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in, and I really try to go live every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and I like to be able to do that way. You guys know I'm going to be here because I know y'all are always going to be here. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. What up, Sherlock? Ashton Jeanty jersey is legit. Comfy. Me and my son love them. Nation, go get one. I've gotten so many compliments. Are you talking about, the jersey or the shirt? Because if it's the shirt, it's literally the shirt that they got on in the picture there. If it's a Jeanty jersey, I don't control that. I'm pretty sure you meant shirt, Sherlock. They are comfortable shirts. They are. I think that they're good quality shirts. I think they're, we used to make another type of shirt, and then we recently changed that to a different type of material. I mean, to me, I don't want a shirt that when I throw it in the wash, it just instantly shrinks. So we tried to stay away from that type of material. So I don't know the exact material, if you're wondering. That's like you asking me to do too much math. All I know is we did recently change it, and I personally like the newer material more. But, to me, when I'm out and about and I see a Raiders Report shirt, it was cool. When I was out in Las Vegas, when I was there with my family, just being able to see people rocking the Raiders Report shirts, it was really, really special, and it meant a lot to me. Dude, you're good. Yeah, Sherlock, yeah, my bad. Sherlock, you're good, dude. I'm refreshing my phone right now. I'm going to see if anybody is getting in the duck race, just so all of y'all know. And then, like I said, if anybody gets a Ashton Jeanty shirt, I'm going to give you 2 raffle tickets, which, by the way, Steven Hansen just got himself 2 raffle tickets, just got himself a Ashton Jeanty shirt. Shout out to my guy, Steven Hansen. And if you're wondering, Mitch, well, what if I got one earlier today? The deal is the moment that the show starts, the moment that the show ends, if you get an Ashton Jeanty shirt, I'm going to give you 2 raffle tickets to get into my fantasy football league. Is there any way we can push something else up on screen? When you get a sec. I know, it's a marathon. Believe me, I saw it and I was like, oh boy, it's got some girth to it. So what I'm trying to do is get you guys an update on just some of the stuff that happened at practice today, because I'll be real with you. Practice today was very, very light. It was really them, I think, just trying to implement some of the things that they got moving forward. One of my favorite things that I heard about practice today was how much work the quarterbacks and running backs did. My eyes on this preseason game are going to be so glued to the running back room, so glued to the wide receiver room. It's not going to be funny. Now, obviously, if Mendoza plays, that changes, but I really do not expect Mendoza to play this week against the 49ers. So a fun debate that we've been having here at Chat Sports, and I get it. I know that people, even me, I did not realize the hatred for 49ers fans until that Super Bowl where the Chiefs and the 49ers played in it in a few years ago, and I was shocked on the amount of people that were rooting for Kansas City. But it's because of the Bay rivalry. I think it's because when you grow up near people, you get close to people, and I don't even mean I know the amount of y'all that probably have friends that are Niners fans, family members that are Niners fans. I know the level of hatred that I have for Eagles, Steelers, and obviously now that I'm a Raiders fan, the hatred that I have for Kansas City, it's a whole nother level, but it's because I also have a lot of friends that are Chiefs fans. Like, I know Raider Nation rolls the Bay, and this is going to be something that you're going to see on some shows moving forward. So if you ever see this question, I hope that you give me some Raiders down below. I hope that you give me some Raider Nation down below. But this preseason game does mean a lot to Raiders fans. Like, it really, really does truly mean a lot to a lot of the fans that are out there. So I'd say let's just keep going through the script, and then we can get to that, if that's okay with you. Okay, cool. Somebody was asking about the fantasy football league. So the way that we're doing the fantasy football league, I have not yet made the league yet. I plan on doing a 16-team league, and honestly, after this raffle that we do today, technically Jerry Danley is going to get the pick, and I believe LCA gets to pick the next person that ends up getting in this fantasy league. So that's just going to be something to watch, something that you guys should monitor. More practice notes coming in here if we can get to them. Kirk Cousins, Fernando Mendoza worked a lot, and I mean a lot with the running backs today, which I think is a smart thing for this organization to do, right? You lost your bell cow and Ashton Jeanty, and even though that we are excited about Mike Washington Jr., he is still a rookie. And all of our running backs outside of Dare Gumbawale are, in fact, very young rookies that are learning a brand new offense. Mike Washington Jr., he was the running back one today, which should not shock anybody out there. And if, Jeanty is unable to go, let's say week 1 against Miami, Washington's going to be the bell cow. I saw another Raiders page today saying that they didn't think that Mike Washington would be the bell cow if Jeanty went down. I'm not as high on the Dylan Laube train. I know he's gotten better, but to me, the way that Mike Washington Jr. has ran the football, I would want to see Mike Washington Jr. really be the bell cow, and then you do a little bit of a sprinkle in of maybe a Laube, maybe a Hemby, maybe a Dare Gumbawale. Though it was clear today, Dylan Laube was the RB2. And, oftentimes I've wondered, are the Raiders going to keep Laube? Are the Raiders potentially going to move on from him and keep a guy like Roman, Hemby, or a Dare? But they have continuously put the ball in Laube's hands, and Laube has looked better this year. I mean, this past preseason game, I believe he had 6 carries, 37 yards, a touchdown. He caught the football effectively. But the most important thing for Laube has been, can you help out in pass protection? Can you show that you can be a reliable pass catcher? And are you able to show me that you're not going to put the ball on the ground? And I will say, every Raiders fan, the moment Laube touches the ball, it's not that we don't believe in him. I've seen the glimpses of Laube. We've all seen the glimpses of Dylan Laube looking like he can really run the football. But every time he touches it, I hold my breath because of the fumbling issues. Now, that's because of what I saw in 2024. It's because of what I saw in 2025. But until I see it on a consistent basis, I am going to have that fear. But since the NFL roster cut-down day is this Sunday, this is going to be a conversation that our coaches probably have. And even if you don't think Clint Kubiak and John Spytek watch this show, that's totally fine. I do know a lot of people watch this program, and I'm not saying that they're going to make conversations or that they're going to do things based on what we say here, but I want people that watch the Raiders Report to not be afraid to have a conversation. In fact, I want you to want to have a conversation. Whether you have a different opinion or not, my thing that I love to be able to do with my friends and my family, we're going to talk about sports. And if you agree with everything that I say, I'm probably going to call you out even more. So let's have a conversation here. Roster cuts are due. You can keep only one player. Who are you going to keep? Are you going to keep Laube? Type 23. Are you going to keep Dare Gumbawale? Type 32. Or are you going to keep the UDFA in Roman Hemby? I want you to type 37. Because right now I'm looking down below, and I see a lot of 37s from Lance. I see a few 32s down there from Slurricane. And then I see a 23 from Blue Richards, a 23 from Danny Strange, a 37 from B. Like, I like this time of the year. Not because people lose jobs. That's not true at all. Like, I like this time of the year because this is a little bit of that puzzle where you can start to put it together. And if you like puzzles, look at the 90-man roster. Technically, we got 89 guys on the team right now. Look at the 89-man roster and then make it into a 53-man. It's fun to do. It's a fun exercise, but I also think it's an exercise that fans should do. That way you have an understanding of how many running backs we're going to keep, how many wide receivers we're going to keep, how many offensive linemen, how many tight ends, cornerback, safety, linebacker, defensive end. You should do that mental math because it always surprises people once roster cuts do ultimately end up coming out. Robert Ashiro got himself a Jeanty shirt, which means, Robert, you get yourself 2 raffle tickets. I got you, my guy, to get in a chance in my fantasy football league. Let's keep going now through the next thing that we got. Pop Toes, how's it going, Mitch? Pop Toes, honestly, man, I'm doing good. I am off tomorrow, which I'm kind of excited about, but it just means I have so much other work that I have to do throughout the week, and I am actually going on vacation next week. Small little vacation for me and my wife right before the football season gets started. So my next live show that I do on Tuesday, then I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You guys aren't going to see me for a little bit, but I'm excited. I'm excited to take a little trip. I've never been to the city that I'm going to. But Clint Kubiak, the presser. Jeanty, no comment. He really was just kind of like, he's on the mend. He did say that he's excited that they're going to be able to get him back, so that's a good sign. He did say that he's impressed by Mike Washington Jr., and I think anybody that's followed the Raiders this entire offseason, there's no way that you haven't been impressed by Mike Washington. And one of our chat sports guys, his name is Jack Sperry, was asking, around the office the other day, who do you think has been like your biggest preseason winner? And I did. I said to him on defense, I said Patrick Johnson. Like, if we're just saying who's played the best in the preseason on defense, Patrick Johnson's probably been the best defensive player. And I know even if he doesn't make the team. But then I also gave him the name Mike Washington Jr. because I would say the player that's impressed me the most on offense for the Raiders during this preseason has been the rookie running back out of Arkansas. Kubiak did not name a starting quarterback. He was asked that question, and even though he's not going to name him, I don't blame that. I'll tell you, he named the starting quarterback in that second preseason game by not playing Kirk Cousins and not playing any of the starters with Kirk Cousins. So he's not going to name him. I don't blame it. Kirk's going to be your week 1 starting quarterback. Was asked about trading Stukes, and he gave a great compliment to the rookie. Said that he's always around the ball. And to me, sometimes we look at things of a guy and maybe not being the best athlete or, he doesn't run this 40 time. Sometimes dudes are just really good football players. And Trayden Stukes, you turn on the tape, he finds ways to be around the football, and Kubiak has taken notice, and it's why he's starting to get basically all the reps starting at that free safety position. Kubiak did say that he's excited to get Jeanty back, and, there was a few times he got asked multiple times about hey, when's Jeanty going to get back? When's Jeanty going to be back? And he just said, that he's going to be back, though he also said that he's a big believer in the power of prayer. I find this to be an interesting statement, and I don't know how many times people remember certain things that I say, but I did a show earlier this week, and in the show, I kind of talked about, a source that I talked to, and when the initial news came out, when I heard all the players took a knee and joined in prayer around Ashton Jeanty, I think a lot of us thought worst case. Well, one of the things the stories that I talked about on the Raiders Report this week was basically the conversation that I had was that the prayer wasn't necessarily looked at as we're thinking he's going to be they were obviously praying for reasons, but Kubiak is a very religious guy. He believes in the power of God. He believes in the idea of, again, when you put good energy out into the world, good stuff happens. So I wonder if the power of prayer thing, I don't know. It just made me think of something that, not that, how can I explain? I'm obviously not doing a good job explaining it. It's not important. I think that they just huddled around because they believe in the power of prayer. I don't want anybody to think, I saw some people saying stuff about Jordan Meredith today. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just don't think that the guys getting in a circle was meant to be, oh my God, we're hoping that Ashton is hurt because we think he's actually going to be long-time injury. I think they were just praying to send in the good vibes. I don't know if I did a good job explaining that. Probably not. Mendoza, he continuously is improving. Jonathan's laughing at me. I'm laughing at myself, Jonathan. Kubiak can see the improvement, though, but then also, he said that it's a baptism by fire. A baptism by fire. And I want my quarterback to have to learn. And, Kubiak understands that Mendoza's still learning, but he's used this expression multiple times. There are certain expressions that Kubiak is starting to use, that he's starting to learn from, that I'm starting to be able to wrap my mind around, that he's starting to use them. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. Sherlock, I think sometimes my fear when I do this show is I don't want people to think that I'm shoving religion or shoving anything down your throat. Am I a religious person? Yes and no. Like my family, we go to church on Christmas and Easter. I believe in the moral of like you got to have something that you should believe in. I think also, God is a good thing to teach like your kids, family. I just know it's a sensitive topic, but to me, I think having God in your family life is not a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know. What up? We got some other notes to go through here from practice today. Now, I saw this one from Sam Warren, and again, Sam put out a long tweet, so I am really just reading this for the very first time with you guys on some of the practice notes from today. Warren said, notes from Raiders practice today. Kirk Cousins took all the reps in team periods with the ones, but Fernando Mendoza had a series with the ones in a scout team period and threw touchdowns to Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. Kirk had touchdowns in scout as well. Mike Washington Jr. took most of the reps with Ashton Jeanty on the mend. Dylan Laube and Dare Gumbawale got sporadic snaps with the ones, but mostly with the twos. I like that, and I kind of think that that's going to be the battle there because, to me, the other running back, Mike's going to be the number one behind Jeanty. This other back here, let's call it our third down back, needs to be able to play special teams. And I know that Laube, they like more as a running back, but I wonder if they like Dare more in special teams. Though, watch out for Roman Hemby. Roman Hemby also got some extra work in kick return game last preseason game. More notes here from Sam Warren from The Athletic. Traden Stukes continue to take all the one reps at safety. Isaiah Paul-Mal had some snaps alongside him with the ones, but it was mostly Jeremy Chin paired with him. IPM. Oh, okay. I was like, what is that? While Isaiah Paul-Mal mostly worked with the twos, Jackson Powers-Johnson and Caleb Rogers continuously rotated at right guard with the ones, basically alternated series with ones and twos. Back here to Warren here, Darian Porter continue to take one reps at corner opposite of Eric Stokes. Hezekiah Massis got one series with the ones in walkthrough period at the end of practice, while Porter was in with the twos. All of Jermod McCoy's work came with the twos. So then red zone period. Kirk had 3 touchdowns in the red zone, 7-on-7 period. 1 to Jalen Naylor, 2 to Brock Bowers. Threw an incomplete to Brock on a fade as well with Porter in coverage. Fernando had 2 touchdowns in that red zone period. 1 to Albert O and 1 to Devin Tompkins. Also had passes broken up by Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Lindenberg, 2 linebackers that, let's face it, they're going to be fighting for a roster spot. More here from Warren. Lots of pressure from defense and team periods. Max Crosby had a few sacks, disrupted plays on the first team offense. Adam Butler got through a couple times with the twos. Butler getting work with twos there. Some disjointness for the ones on offense at the end of practice. Kirk had 3 straight incompletions, a PBU by Porter on Bowers, a drop by Trey Tucker, and a ball too high for Naylor. Kirk wasn't happy. Fernando had a really nice ball fit between 2 defenders with, holy cow, to Tompkins on a crosser, but appeared that Tompkins either didn't complete the catch or fumbled later. Trey Zoon continued to work as Mendoza's center with the twos, which Jordan Meredith actually spoke about a little bit today. Meredith, in fact, said that Mendoza's been perfect under center. Antonio Maffei and Jordan Meredith continue to rotate at left guard with the twos. Dalton Johnson took most of the 2 reps at nickel, also got some at safety with Greedy Vance coming in at the nickel. You weren't kidding. Holy shit. So I sent Lopez a tweet because I go, hey, Warren just tweeted out like an update from practice. Can you build this? And he looked at me and he was like, that's a really long tweet. And I'm like, yeah, I figured it's a long tweet. I didn't realize it was that long of a tweet. Everything that you just saw there was one tweet. That's taking advantage of the characters. That's taking advantage of all the characters there. To the 400 people that are here in the building right now, if you bleed silver and black and if you love the Raiders, hey, let me know down below. Give me a Raiders down below because coming up here on the program today, I got 3 segments to get into. We're going to get into some candidates that are on the hot seat. Guys that, let's face it, need to play well in this final preseason game before roster cuts. Then we're going to get into some dudes on the bubble candidates that I think a lot of Raiders fans are hoping for. Bubble candidates that, quite frankly, I don't know if they make the team. I don't know if they make the team. But if you plan on watching that preseason game against the Niners, I'm just going to give you 6 names of dudes that I'm rooting for. And then a Raiders 49ers preview. A preview that you might not look at the scoreboard in this final game, but there are just certain things that I want to see cleaned up. Here you go. Little cherry on, little spoiler alert, if you will. One thing that I want to see better for the Raiders, I want to see our run defense show that they want to actually stop the run. And that's going to be something that I talk about on the show. Like, again, it's hard to evaluate preseason football, but I also want to be able to evaluate my team. I also want to evaluate my coaching staff. And that's kind of how I'm looking at this final preseason game of, I've seen the first preseason game. I've seen the second preseason game. Well, now I expect some improvements. Even if our starters don't play, that's okay. There are certain areas of certain spots that I really want to see some improvements on, and that's what I'm going to be talking about coming up here on the Raiders Report today. But if you do not know, if you're trying to get in my duck race, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Rents 365, which the last time that I checked, right now, it is just Sherlock. Sherlock is doing the dance in the middle of the floor all by himself. If you want to get in the duck race and if you want to dance with Sherlock, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Rens 365. Let's go to my guy Rebel Montana here in the building. What up, Reb? They addressed the special teams during the press conference. The coach is disappointed with the Tokyo Toast performance, but had better practice. Yeah, I know that he's been better in practice. But, like, also, and I'm not trying to be a dick here because I feel like we don't need to keep beating this over, the head. He's been really bad in the games. Like, he has been. He's been bad in the open practice. He's been bad in the games. And I want to see more out of Kansai Matsuzawa. But I was also happy that Joe DeCamillo, pointed out the fact that the Cameron Richardson ran out of bounds. Like, that's been something that they've really, really been working on him with. And the problem with DeCam is it's not a talent standpoint. Like, they know he's talented. It's just he's got to be able to get it up here. What's up, Yoda? Sorry I've had to put football on the back burner, dealing with life. By the way, rumor has it Jed York wants to rename his team from the 49ers to the 69ers. What's wild is our 49ers guy, he's like got this shirt. Is it possible to show it or no? So our 49ers guy made this shirt for Jed York. I can show you guys. And if anybody wants to get it, you're more than welcome to get it, though I believe it's going to say 49ers Report on the shirt. So if you don't want it to say that, that's fine. But when you see this freaking Jed York shirt, it's just the timing of news is unbelievable, right? The Las Vegas Raiders, their owner, Mark Davis, donated $25 million for a hospital to be built. And then you got Jed York in the same headlines going to trailer parks for $140 rub and tugs. It's just our owners are not the same. So here is the 49ers shirt. Just quest for sex. How many Super Bowls do they have? They have 5 Super Bowls, don't they? Is that why this? 6 comes from. Is that what that is for? Yeah, they're 5 Super Bowls. Wow. I thought it was 6 for touchdown. No, I got it. Quest for. I get it. I hate to even admit it. That's a lot more clever than I realized. But I've had a bunch of people talk to me about this whole Jed York thing. But yeah, if you know a 49ers fan out there, that is a shirt that our guys are running with here at Chat Sports. Let's keep it moving on the program. Danny Strange, thanks for the amazing news and reporting. Danny, I'm just trying to be the best Raiders fan that I can be. And that's like the God honest truth, man. When I hear something cool, I want to tell all y'all about it. I know how Sunday was. I know Sunday for me it was kind of a difficult day because it was my wife's dad's birthday and we were getting together for family lunch, brunch. We were getting together. So I want to do a better job as a husband to take my mind off Raiders, take my mind off of Chat Sports and really live and focus on the now because I struggle. I'm on my phone a lot. I'm always trying to stay up to date. It is something that I pride myself on. So being at that dinner that I was at, the brunch I was at for Alex's dad, when I saw the news go down, I was just in a mental headspin. I was in a whirlwind. And then when that news came out, I wanted to talk to all y'all about it. I was excited to be able to talk to all y'all about it. And, I've been able to meet a lot of cool people over the years. I take my job very seriously. I reach out to tons of people. And here's the thing. I strike out all the time. Like, I bet you 1% of messages I send get answered. But you know what? Sometimes shooters shoot, and I'm always going to keep on shooting because I do that because I want Raider Nation to have the best news possible. I want you guys to stay up to date. I take a lot of pride in that show, and I'm not going to be the guy that breaks news first. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But when we talk about something on this show, it's because I believe it's Raiders news, it's Raiders rumors, it's topics that are important to what's currently going on around Raider Nation. What up, Real Cowboy? Football season is back. Hell yeah, this year feels different. F the Chiefs. F the Broncos, F the Chargers, and you know what? Give me also an F the 49ers in there as well, man. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. Football season's back. I'm excited, dude. The fact that we have one preseason game left, and then the fact that we got 19 days. 19 days until Raiders football is back. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. It is pretty hard to believe, I'm not going to lie to all y'all, that we've gone through another off season and week one is right around the corner. You know, like for me, I'm getting ready to go into my 9th year here at Chat Sports. I had the conversation with my dad that I moved down here September 2017. September 8th, 2017 was my very first day here at Chat Sports. So the thought of us going on 9 years, another football season, Rebel College this Saturday. I mean, I didn't even know this. My wife, so yesterday I come home from work and I was, talking to my wife about like my plans this weekend because I told her I have to work on Sunday and I told her I'm off on Wednesday, I'm off on Saturday. And she's like, oh, well, good. We have plans on Saturday. I was kind of like, we do? Because there's football, TCU, North Carolina at 11 a.m. And I'm not going to lie to you. That's all I want to do on Saturday. So I found out that I have brunch plans with Trace and Maddie, and we're going to watch college football, and we're going to make some food. But, to me, I can't wait just to watch some college football this Saturday. I can't wait to be able to just watch the Raiders play again. But also, I want to be proud of my Raiders this year. I want to be proud to be a Raiders fan. I don't want to watch some bullshit team play meaningless football games in October like I've had to watch the past 2 seasons. Though, since we're talking a little bit about college football right now, I want to know, who's your favorite college team? Like, who's your team that you root for? Lopez is an LSU guy. He went to LSU. He worked for the LSU football team, the media team, right? Media football team. You know better than I do.
Yeah, it was like the news station that we had on campus. So did sports with them.
So I know he's an LSU guy. What's funny is I have my entire life have rooted for Penn State. I have found myself rooting for Indiana more often now with Fernando. I'm just like, I am like totally, if I got to put good vibes into the Indiana Hoosiers, I will become an Indiana fan if that means Fernando Mendoza makes it here with the Raiders.
Do you think that will wear off eventually? Because it's like, at first I get it last year. It's like, oh, this is our new quarterback. Let's watch him. If nobody's getting picked out of Indiana, are you still, like, rocking with the Hoosiers?
If Fernando Mendoza ends up being a franchise quarterback, and I mean, like, our starter for the next 10 to 15 years, if he wins one Super Bowl, I will become an Indiana Hoosier fan.
Indiana tattoo on the leg.
Indiana tattoo is a stretch. That's a stretch. But I would root for the Indiana Hoosiers. I don't even care. But again, I like to watch Penn State. Like the way that you are with LSU is the way that I am with the Raiders. Like there is there is nothing else.
There's no secondary option.
Correct.
It's either we won or we lost. I'm pissed off or I'm happy.
Correct. And that's how it goes. Like growing up, not having a favorite team and only playing fantasy football, like I never understood like the diehard fan of like that team. Now, and I made the joke the other day because, again, like I got my start doing fantasy football. I used to be that fantasy guy that was like, oh, my fantasy team. When I saw this Jeanty news happen, I was like, F everybody that cares about fantasy football. I don't care. I care about the Raiders. Like, what this does to this Raiders team. It's totally there.
So Ashton Jeanty isn't on your fantasy team is what I'm hearing.
Well, I haven't drafted yet. So I do. Our family league drafts on Memorial Day. So, or Labor Day.
I get the two confused all the time.
Nah, sadly I do too. But Labor Day, so this year it's the 7th. So this year our family draft is the 7th. And then also our draft here for the Raiders Report, we'll probably do our draft right around that day as well because we're off that day. So that's typically when we do it. All right, fam. Are you guys ready to get into our very first segment here on the Raiders Report today? We're going to look at some hot seat candidates. Sherlock, we getting tats?
Yeah, we have 2 more supers we can get to real fast.
All right, aggressive. Come on, Jed. Just take a page out of my book.
You know, the one thing I'll say, it was only $140. It's a pretty good deal.
It's not a good deal when you're a billionaire. When you're when you're a billionaire, again, I hope that I run into an issue that Jed York is running into at some point of being a billionaire.
Also, small town Ohio prostitute, is that who you want to risk it on? I'm sorry. That's not like blue chip talent.
Like, again, I'm not trying to, I'm going to be real. I grew up in a trailer park, but I had a lot of family members. My mom and I, for a small period of time, I grew up in a trailer park. I know what trailer parks look like. I can't even imagine Jed York, a billionaire.
Do you think he has a burner car, or is he just pulling up in his super nice car? I imagine all NFL GMs owners have.
I don't even know. It really made me think of that meme where you see the Bugatti out in front of the trailer park. Have you ever seen that photo?
I know exactly what photo you're talking about.
That's what I think about. Again, but the other, dude's married. He's got kids. It's a bad look. It's a really, really, really bad look. How horny do you gotta be? And apparently he got on an ad. It was a...
It was an ad at that point.
No, it was an ad that apparently he clicked on. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've been on.
There was hot local moms in this area, and he was very intrigued.
It's I gotta skip this ad.
It's wait,
I gotta do this. Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble. All right, let's go. We got Sherlock. We getting tats. I actually have been thinking about getting another Raiders tattoo, but if I do, I would probably fly to Indiana actually and go to the guy that did my Los Angeles Raiders tattoo. Shout out to Art Goods out in Indiana. My guy Dream Tats on Instagram. Dude's a legend. I got dude Can't Walk in the duck race. What up, Can't Walk? I got you in. Also, I see you, Rustin Long. You in, and then Philip Bogert. You in the duck race. $20 Venmo to go home with $40 here on the Raiders Report. The more people that get in, the more money we can give away. Rock and Jock, USC first college football game. I saw Marcus Allen.
It's a pretty good first game to have.
That's an unbelievable first game to go to. I actually don't remember the first Penn State game I even went to. I remember the Penn State whiteout game that I went to, but to say that I remember the first Penn State game that I went to, I don't. Because I don't think it was a big game, because I don't think my aunt and my uncle would have, they used to take
kind of rowdy for young.
Well, they used to take the nephews and nieces to the games that, Penn State's playing a team that's going to win 60-7.
Yeah, the 11 o'clock games against these FCS teams.
Those are the games when I was a kid at first we would go to, and then once my aunt and my uncle were like, oh, he really likes Penn State, then that's when I got to go to a whiteout game. But that would be an unbelievable experience. To be able to say that that's why I kick myself in my ass so much, because last year I got invited to go to the Penn State Indiana game and I couldn't go. So in my mind, I'm I could have said I got to watch Fernando Mendoza up against Penn State. I kick myself in the ass all the time, Rock and Jock.
Dude, there's so many good college football games this year that just can't make.
It's brutal.
I love my job, but the coming in early on Sundays really eliminates the possibilities on Saturday.
Yeah, it is a tough. People laugh at me when I say I really try to drink only at work. There is a whole nother mental aspect of everybody's going out on Saturday night. The Saturday night game, the thought of being able to go out to a bar and just watch that game with my friends and then be able to sleep in the next morning on Sunday and just watch football, that thought's unbelievable to me. That thought doesn't exist.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. Week 2 of the NFL season is going to be hell for me because that's coming off. That's going to be the Sunday after Ole Miss LSU. I'm going to have a day.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. I was like, why is LSU Ole Miss so big? Now I realize.
I'm going to have a day.
That's going to be a big one. Dude, watch party? No. Maybe. No,
I don't think you want me behind any machinery.
You're going to be like Cooper. You're going to be like, can't be around anyone. Sherlock, my in-laws live in Indiana. We got a place to stay. Are you near St. Elmo's? Because I want to go to that Elmo's place again, and I want to get some shrimp cocktail.
Is that the steak place?
Yes, it's that shrimp cocktail. I have dreams about it. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, fam, let's go. I got 3 segments on tap for all of y'all today. We've been live for 50 minutes already here on the Raiders Report. I plan on being live for probably, I don't know, another hour and a half here on the show. At the end of the show, we will do a duck race and a fantasy football raffle. Friendly reminder that if you end up buying the Ashton Jeanty shirt, I am going to give you a raffle ticket for a shot to get into my fantasy football league. And I can give you guys some shout outs here. I see a few people have taken advantage of that deal. I see Jeffrey Stasowiski, which I don't even think I was close to that last name. And then I see Sam Bandy. Also, you got your Ashton Jeanty shirt, which means you get 2 raffle tickets to get in my fantasy football league. All right, fam, 3 segments on tap. Really, we're about to transition now to like Raiders cut down talk, Raiders 49ers preseason. The first 50 minutes of the show have been around Ashton Jeanty and Raiders training camp practice today. Where we are about to go is we are now going to start looking forward and really to that preseason game, that final game. And it's a game that it probably doesn't mean a lot to Kirk Cousins, Brock Bowers, and a lot of those big name players out there, Max Crosby. But for a lot of guys, it's that final opportunity to wear a Raiders jersey, a final opportunity maybe to, literally strap it on and go out there with the guys that you've been training with for the last few months. This is a big game, and it's a preseason game that I do always personally enjoy. And anytime you're going up against the Niners, you already know it's going to mean a little bit more. Because I know it means a little bit more for Raider Nation. I know it means a little bit more for me, and I want that to matter to these Raiders players as well. So coming up, we're going to get into some players here on the hot seat. You ready to rock? No, we're good. What, from Schefter? Yeah. Yeah, I saw so Humphreys news just came out. We're good there. And then Bud Clark on IR. That's brutal. I feel so bad for Bud Clark. I loved him coming out of TCU. I really, really did. You ready? All right, y'all. Coming up, first segment on the program, we got some Raiders on the hot seat. Raider Nation, I'm looking at you. Drop some names down below. Give me a Raiders player that's on the hot seat up against the San Francisco 49ers. And if you do not know, today's show is presented by our good friends over at Prize Picks. I'm going to be live for Raiders up against the 49ers 1 hour before kickoff. You better be subscribed. You better have those notifications turned on because this is the final preseason game. And it's an important game because for the last time, there's going to be several Raiders players that this will be the last time they put on a Raiders jersey. This will be the last time they might call themselves NFL players. So coming up here, we're going to look at some Raiders players on the hot seat that if they don't play well, they might get cut on NFL roster day. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and what I really want to do today on the show is just go through and outline some Raiders players that I am going to say are on the hot seat. We got to be able to face the facts. The harsh reality of this week is, yes, it's the final preseason game, and really, not a lot of the stars or starters end up playing in this game. Quite frankly, at the moment that I'm recording this video on Tuesday, I don't even know 100% who's playing and who's not playing. What I do know is this: it is an extremely important game for players on that roster bubble, for players that could potentially get cut on August 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So the guys that I'm about to mention, if you get your opportunity to play this Thursday against the 49ers, I hope that you make it count, because if you don't, you might not find yourself on this roster going into the regular season. Let's go to the very first name here, and this might be a bit of a shocker to some people out there, but I do think that Aidan O'Connell is on the hot seat, and I think that there's two big reasons why he's on the hot seat. The first reason, Kirk Cousins. The second reason, Fernando Mendoza. That's it. I don't think it has anything to do with how AOC has played. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that Aidan O'Connell has had 6 different offensive coordinators, 4 different head coaches. He's got some good playing experience, but the simple fact is this. The Raiders can save $3.7 million by moving on from AOC. And I know that Aidan believes that he can be a starter and wants another opportunity elsewhere. Whether AOC wants to go somewhere else or whether the Raiders want to send him somewhere else or whether the Raiders just simply go, I'm so confident in Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza, and we're going to be able to make Jacob Clark our practice squad quarterback. I'm so confident in Mendoza and Cousins that I believe $3.7 million is more important than AOC. I don't believe that. Quite frankly, I think having Aidan as our backup for the long term is the smart thing, and I've said that multiple times out there, but oh, wow, I did not realize they got a new photo there for Aidan O'Connell. All right, AOC, I see you. But, I think all of us agree. I don't expect Kirk Cousins to play in this game. I don't even know if I necessarily expect Fernando Mendoza to play in this game. But for Aidan O'Connell, he's on the hot seat. And he's on the hot seat, but it's also a good thing for him. Following Aidan has been a player that I've really enjoyed covering. He made a squad at Purdue. He's made a squad here for the Raiders. He's very well liked, respected in that room. You heard Trey Tucker speak about him the other day. But he's also on the hot seat because if he goes out there and plays well, he might get an opportunity elsewhere. He might get an opportunity to go play for another football team. And when it matters the most, that's typically when you've seen AOC play some good football. I know he's limited. I know he's a limited starter, and I know that his upside is not very high. But part of that final preseason game is I'm going to root for certain players. I'm going to cheer for certain guys, and you're damn right. I'm going to be rooting for Aidan O'Connell out there. So I know that this show's about hot seat, and I do think that that seat is hot around AOC, but it's not because of 12. It's because of the current situation that he's in. Let's go to another hot seat candidate here on the Raiders Report, offensive lineman Jordan Meredith. And I say that because the money, if the Raiders wanted to move on from Meredith, they could do so. If you haven't seen recently, the Raiders right now are at $4.3 million in salary cap. That is 30th in the NFL. So if the Raiders wanted to move on from Aidan O'Connell and you wanted to move on from Jordan Meredith, I mean, bingo, bango. I just freed up over $7 million if you wanted to add another veteran. If you wanted to make a trade and make a signing, you could do it. But to me, Meredith has been somebody that they've been moving around this offensive line a ton. They've predominantly have had him at center and as the center for Mendoza, but over the past few practices, they've kicked him over to guard. And I spoke with a source earlier this week, and they like Antonio Mafi. Antonio Mafi is a name that I'm not going to lie to you, I did not expect I was going to be hearing some of the things about him that I am hearing about him. And now, you see Meredith kind of battling right now a little bit with Antonio Mafi. I don't know if Meredith is going to be in the cards to make this team. I still think that he does end up making this roster, but I thought he would have been a lock back in March. I don't know if he is a lock right now to make this squad where it currently stands, and it's a big game. He needs to play well. We got some more hot seat candidates on offense, and then I got 3 on the defensive side of the football to just get into, but hey, if you guys don't get started with Prize Picks, you're going to put me on the hot seat. I'm kind of kidding, but at the same time, I'm kind of serious. Give me a follow on Prize Picks at Mitchell Renz 365. If you plan on watching the Raiders up against the 49ers this week, watch it with me and get a Prize Picks lineup in. I'll admit, I do not have a Prize Picks lineup in yet for the Raiders preseason matchup up against the 49ers, but that's only because there are no players yet out there for projections of more or less. They do have team picks, which I do think is important to note. If you are man, I don't care who plays. All I care about is my Raiders get a win over those 49ers. You can get a lineup in that way because team picks are available. And I know a lot of the conversation has been around Ashton Jeanty. I've been talking about Jeanty every single day. Heck, I'm literally wearing an Ashton Jeanty jersey right now. When I saw the news around Jeanty, I did. I thought about my Prize Picks lineups. And for anybody out there, if you follow me on Prize Picks, if you see me getting a dub, that makes me obviously happy, but I try to make lineups so you guys win the $150 in lineups. Because if you win your very first $5 lineup, you do. You go home with $150 in lineups. Just make sure that you use code HMA. And if you did not know, team picks, they are now available on Prize Picks. So if you're just in a household, and to you, this game is just Raiders against the 49ers, Battle of the Bay, you can go pick the Raiders to beat the 49ers on Prize Picks. It's over there right now. I encourage you to do so. That link is going to be down in the comments. It's down in the description of today's program. Let's go to my final Raiders hot seat candidate on the offensive side of the football. And it's somebody that I don't even know if we're going to get a chance to see play. Dante Thornton Jr. And if cut or traded, the Raiders would save $1 million and eat $263,000. I have said this on a past few shows that I've done, that a source has told me that there is a chance Thornton begins the season out on the short-term IR, meaning that he would be out the first 4 weeks of the season. He would not count against the 53-man. But Kubiak has said that, he expects Thornton to play. And Kubiak, I don't want to say called out Thornton. That's not the right way to say it. But you guys know what phrase I'm talking about, where he basically flat out said, I expect to see Dante Thornton Jr. in a preseason game. He said that, not exactly word for word, but it's what he said. And if he doesn't get out there, that's obviously not a good sign. But to me, I want to see Thornton show me that he can be a good blocker, that he can help out in other areas. And even if the route tree isn't completed, he's got to be able to show he can help win in other areas and help this Raiders team win in other areas out there. But all eyes are going to be on this wide receiver room. Quite frankly, I think I could have done hot seat candidates for the entire receiver room, right? If Clint Kubiak is going to say what he did the other day, and basically that the wide receiver room took a step back after the game against the Houston Texans, I'll tell you this right now. My name's Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Jack Besh, Derek Young, Dante Thornton Jr., Malik Benson, Phillip Dorsett, Shedrick Jackson, Devin Thompson, E.J. Williams, Brandon Johnson, or Chase Roberts. If I mentioned your name there, I would have been offended by what Clint Kubiak had to say about this wide receiver room. So I'll say it like this. I think the entire wide receiver room could be on the hot seat. If you're in that receiver room, you're playing for your job. It's not just Dante Thornton Jr., but because Thornton was drafted in the 4th round last year, you don't see players like this typically get cut after just the second season. There is a lot of belief. There is a lot of hope. And I think when you talk about DTJ, you got to use the word hope, because if you're not hopeful, there's no reason to keep him on this roster. He's not ready to help contribute this season. I don't know if he's even necessarily going to be ready to contribute next year. If you believe in Dante Thornton, you're looking down the road, because it's a long-term project. Coming up here, I got some more players on the hot seat that need to play well in this 49ers preseason game, but we're going to go to the defensive side of the football next up here on the program. For those that do not know, I am going to be live this Thursday. Raiders up against the 49ers at 6 p.m. That's 1 hour before kickoff. Then Friday, it is the day right after the Raiders game where we do a whole bunch of breakdowns, and that's going to be a fun show to do just because we're going to be talking about a lot of, some roster cuts that are going to be happening. And then Sunday, 2 hours before the official roster cuts are made. The roster cuts 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going live 2 hours before that. Make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you're pulling up and watching the show with me. If you don't know that we have an awesome community here, I always go through and I'll look at different, comments from time to time. And when I find a few in a row that I really like, I'm going to share them with you. So I see Zalesbo. She's one of our moderators. She was talking about Jeanty, and I think when you bring in good vibes, that's a good thing. I got Jansen here kind of chiming in. Jansen's always a part of our live program. I saw this one down here, trying to share some light on what's happening right now in Las Vegas. And then this one here, just good afternoon. But what I also see is the replies. And I have done this show for 9+ years, and I really got to give a lot of credit to Ron Raspberry. I do think Ron's done a great job with this. Lesbo's done a great job with this, replying to people in the comments on videos that I drop. It's easy to talk Raiders news, but we're building a community here, and I want all y'all to pat yourself on the back. I get it. The idea of this show, Raiders hot seat candidates, might not be good for some of the players that I'm talking about, but even in a show that might not be good to talk about players, I want you to understand, I value Raider Nation. I put the Shield and Raider Nation above players every single day of the week, quite frankly, because I care more about Raider Nation than I do players, and I only talk about players in the truth. That's why you should subscribe to the Raider Report. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to give you guys what you want. But look at this community. We're building it, and you guys are doing it. Shout out to y'all. Let's go to some Raiders hot seat candidates on the defensive side of the football here. The rookie, Brandon Cleveland. You heard him speak to the press today, and he sounded like a rookie, sounded like he might have been a little bit afraid to go up to the podium. And, the other part of the equation is, some of these guys are young, and Brandon Cleveland is still a very, very young player. However, even though he was drafted at 229 overall, I reported 2 months ago that I was hearing that, yes, he's not a lock to make this roster, and he is somebody that needs to go out there and needs to show this staff that, damn it, I deserve to make this team, and I'm going to be somebody that you can believe in down the road. If you cut him, you save $885,000, you eat only $40K. No team's going to trade for him. So, again, if a cut were to happen, you probably could bring him back on the practice squad. But I believe that the Raiders keep 6 defensive tackles this year. That's just the number that I keep going back to. So, when I show you this Raiders defensive tackle room, count it out with me. You got Adam Butler. That's 1. Tonka Hemingway. That's 2. Thomas Booker. That's 3. Jonah Laolu. That's 4. J.J. Pegues. That's 5. And then, is it going to be Brandon Cleveland? I don't think it is. I think it's going to be Fali Fakutasi, who the Raiders recently signed, and he's been getting some work with the ones. Now, Benito Jones got work with the ones, and he ended up getting cut. But I just believe that they need somebody else that they know that can help them instantly on this defensive line. And unfortunately, that's just not quite where Brandon Cleveland is at yet. They think he's a really good young kid, and he is a good young kid, and he is asking a lot of the right questions, and he is a hard-working player. But this is a Raiders defensive tackle room that they need guys that can contribute right away, and that's just not quite where Cleveland is. He needs to play well, though, in this preseason game. Let's go to the cornerback position next, DeCamerion Richardson. And you heard Joe DeCamillis, the Raiders special teams coach, kind of, poke at DCam a little bit, but that's only because when it comes to Richardson, everybody knows that he's talented. He is one of the most talented players on that Raiders team, just from an athletic standpoint and athletic build, speed, height, the measurables. They are off the charts. He, is really truly, one of the most athletic cornerbacks in the NFL if you just look at what is an athlete at the NFL Combine, right? If the Raiders move on from him, you save $1.1 million. You eat $200,000. He was a 4th-round pick going on his 3rd different regime from 2024. But think about all the moves that the Raiders have made this offseason. Traden Stuk, Zeke Massis, Jermod McCoy. For DeCamerion, if he wants to make this team, special teams has got to be where he makes it. And the fact that he had a boneheaded penalty, you heard in Joe DeCamillis' voice how I think it honestly reminded me of when my dad was like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And you could tell the disappointment in his voice that, DeCamerion went out of bounds, he came back in, and then that cost us a big penalty. That's kind of what they've been, I don't want to use the term hitting over the head with them, but that's kind of what they're trying to get him to understand. DeCamerion Richardson needs to play well on special teams this next game against the 49ers because he's not going to make the squad as a corner. He's not going to make it. I'm sorry. Eric Stokes and Darian Porter are this team's top 2 corners right now is where it stands. I believe Taron Johnson and Greedy Vance are going to be in the mix, but then it's Hezekiah Massis, Jermod McCoy. Richardson, I know what the depth chart says. I'm just telling you. The only way he makes this squad is if he shows that he's not a complete liability as a corner, but shows he can be a solid and reliable special teams player. That's what he needs to do. Coming up next here on the show, I got one more player on the hot seat. One more Raiders hot seat candidate up against the San Francisco 49ers, and it's a player that I've mentioned him before on this program, and I don't know if some of y'all are going to be all that surprised on the name that I bring up. Before I do, though, shout out to all y'all that have given me a follow on Instagram. I'm at MitchellRentz365. Basically everywhere, and I get it. People follow me on here for Raiders news and updates. But I want people to follow me on social media because I'm going to get to know you better. You're going to get to know me better, and that's going to make this show a lot better. So if you want a shout out on the program, give me a follow on IG. I'm going to take some names here throughout the course of the next week or so, take some screenshots, give some shout outs on some names. But if you're watching this show right now and you see your name, hey, man, tag me on IG. Right there is my name. If you see somebody that you know watching the show, or if you want to follow these people, let's keep growing this community everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I don't even have a TikTok. If I got to make one, I will. But let's keep on growing this community, man. Final Raiders hot seat candidate, linebacker Tommy Eichenberg is going to be the name that we look at here. And it's been a linebacker battle between him and Cody Lindenberg. They like Shea Gunalobi a lot from a special team standpoint, but if Cutter traded, Eichenberg saves the Raiders $1.08 million, fifth-round pick in the 2024 draft. So again, another guy going on his third different regime. But look at all the moves that the Raiders made. Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, you bring in Shea Gunalobi. All of these dudes are there to compete. And if I was the Raiders and I were to look at my linebacker depth chart, and if I were to see that it's Eichenberg and Lindenberg, like, I look at, I really do look at Eichenberg and Lindenberg as similar players, similar build, obviously similar last names, but it's who's the younger player, who's the guy that I have on the rookie contract. I would look at the Raiders' current situation, and I would go, you know what? I don't know if there's all that much of a difference between Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Lindenberg, but I know this, that I can keep Lindenberg on a rookie contract 1 year longer than I can Eichenberg. So if Tommy's going to make this team, and I think that this is going to be a team that keeps only 4 linebackers, he's going to really have to show up and show out on Thursday. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be enough for him to make this squad. So one more time here, my Raiders hot seat candidates presented by Prize Picks up against the San Francisco 49ers in their final Week 3 preseason game. Aiden O'Connell, Jordan Meredith, Dante Thornton Jr. If you don't play well on Thursday, you might not get another opportunity to put on a Raiders jersey. Though for AOC, if you do play well, I think that you might actually get an opportunity to put on a different jersey in a trade. And then some guys on defense, Brandon Cleveland, DeCamerion Richardson, and Tommy Eichenberg. All players that have been outside of Cleveland. Cleveland's new. But DeCam and Eichenberg have been on this team the last 2 years. And even though they haven't been guys making big-time plays, they have been players that we've talked about a bunch. And we've talked about these players a bunch because of all these different regimes that have come and gone. But to the Raiders hot seat candidates, you can take my words as extra motivation. You probably don't even care that I even mentioned you in this video. But to any Raiders player out there, I want you to show up and show out. And to anybody that's on that hot seat, make me eat my words. Make me eat my words. That's honestly what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping we embarrass the 49ers, and I hope that we put them on a hot seat. Though after seeing what happened with Jed York, I got a feeling that his seat is already pretty hot. If it scratches Jed, you shouldn't have gone for a 140 rub and tug. You shouldn't have gone for a 140 rub and tug. To the 422 people here in the building right now, greatly appreciate you tuning in and choosing the Raiders Report. I have noticed we did cross 100 likes. Let's get to 200 likes. We're going to give away some raffle tickets if you want a chance to get into my fantasy football league. What's up, Big Sam? What's up, nation? I'm new to the show and been enjoying it. What are your thoughts on Nando starting week 1 versus Kirk starting? If it was up to me, I probably would start Fernando Mendoza week 1. Like, I want to see Mendoza play. However, at the same time, it's not going to happen. And the reason why, there's so many reasons why it's not going to happen. But here's the truth why I don't think the Raiders are going to do it. If you start Fernando Mendoza, he's your starting quarterback the entire season. You can't bench him. If you start Kirk, you can make that change. You can make the change and then go to Fernando. So I think one of the reasons why maybe it would have been better to start Fernando is you got, Miami, sorry, Lopez, the Saints. Like, those are two of your easier games to kind of get that season started, and I don't think that many people would disagree with that. Though, the other area why I would say now, I actually don't think it would be smart for Fernando to get that start is I would want Fernando to start in a perfect situation, right? What is a Raiders perfect situation week one? A Raiders week one perfect situation is a healthy team. So, like, if Ashton Jeanty's not going to play, I don't know if that's put Fernando Mendoza in a perfect situation. I think the reason why you roll with Kirk is because Kirk's been the guy that has been able to help this team understand the Clint Kubiak offense, defense, special teams more than Fernando has. And even though I do think Mendoza is obviously the long-term answer, it's going to be Kirk, man. It's going to be Kirk. But I'll say this. Thank you so much for just now tuning in. I know I'm saying this as my legs up here and you get a full-on crotch view. But, you know, this is going to be a show, like, we're going to include people in. I mean, I've been doing this program for 9+ years. I can't say, too many things are guaranteed when you're a Raiders fan. But if there's one thing that you can guarantee every day from the Raiders Report is you're going to get free videos every day. When the Raiders play, I'm going to be live, and we're going to be building a really cool community here. If you're a hopeful Raiders fan, I think you're going to have a lot of fun on this show. And if you're a hopeful person to put some money in your pocket, get in on the duck race action, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. Right now, you would have a shot to win. The last time that I checked, let me get a few extra names in here. I see... Got Charles. What up, Charles? And then also Juan Gutierrez. You in. $20 Venmo. Shot to win. $60 here on the show. Sizzle Rizzle. R.I.P. to Dolly. Yes. Dolly Parton. She passed away at 80 years old. I saw that news today. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't listen to Dolly all that much. My mom and some of my mom's side of the family, they were bigger Dolly Parton fans, but very sad. 80 years old. 80 years old. All right, y'all. If you don't know the deals that we got here on the program today, we are 15 likes away from 200, which means we're going to give away some raffle tickets. If you want a chance to get into my fantasy football league, every $5 super chat that comes in, it's one raffle ticket for you. All I ask is, ask me a question. Ask me a question so I can talk Raiders, and you get a shot to get into my fantasy league. If you want a chance to win some money, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. Right now you have a chance to go home with $60. If anybody out there buys an Ashton Jeanty shirt, and if you're like, Mitch, what Ashton Jeanty shirt are you talking about? Also, Justine Gonzalez, I got you in 20 to win $70. We are doing a flash sale. This sale will only last for as long as I am live. I'm going to guess this sale is going to last another hour, maybe. So if you want to go get your shirt now, go to chatsports.com/RRshop. Or if you just want to go directly to the shirt, you go to chatsports.com/RR2, and you can get your hands on this Ashton Jeanty shirt. I know on Sunday the news scared a lot of us. Well, I thought I had a few Raiders fans reach out to me like, dude, the Michael Mayer Halloween is perfect for Jeanty because they can't take him out. I hope that Jeanty goes out there, and I hope that he does a lot of great stuff, man. I really, really do. And I hope that he looks healthy. I hope that he looks the running back that we expect him to be, because I do expect Jeanty to be a bell cow. Quite frankly, I think we need Ashton Jeanty to be a bell cow. I don't see anybody else that bought the shirt. If you buy the shirt, I'll give you 2 raffle tickets. And obviously, if anybody bangs here on the show, you're going to be in the August bang race. Just warning you, though. It's Jerry Danley's world. It's LCA's world. And we're all just kind of living in it. I believe we're all caught up on all of the supers. Yes, we are. How many rushing touchdowns will Mike Washington Jr. have this season? I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'm going to get into my next segment. My next segment is going to be around players on the roster bubble that I'm hopeful for. Players on the roster bubble that I'm going to be rooting for on Thursday. Guys that I hope that they play well. And not to say I hope that they make the team, just players that I hope that they play well, because I would imagine when you're that roster bubble player, you just got to say to yourself, hey, man, if I feel like I gave 110%, I feel like I did everything I could, I feel like I personally earned the roster, that's probably all you can do to put your head on your pillow, to be proud. Because I remember when I talked to Nick Kwiatkowski about being a UDFA and about the importance of preseason games, and he was somebody who was a UDFA and made a squad, so I know he was like very, very adamant about it, but at the same time, that's interesting. All right, how many rushing touchdowns from Mike Washington Jr. this season? What are we thinking? Also, former Jaguars 2023 sixth-round pick and UFL edge rusher Derek Parrish have agreed on a contract with the Houston Texans. Also, Trey Benson cleared waivers today, which I'm not surprised by. He had some injury issues. Wilson's going to go with 8. Luda Sigla says 15. Holy shit. Guys, touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns. Like, Drake Junger says 6. I think 6 is a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I would say anything over 4 would be a good year for Mike Washington Jr. I mean, 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns. I mean, prove me wrong. Like, Natman's going to go with 7. 6 down there from Sports Dude. Rob French says 5. Luda Sigla, if Mike Washington Jr. goes for 15 touchdowns, I think it's because Jeanty doesn't play a single snap this year. I don't know. I don't even know if I want that. Would you want Mike Washington Jr. to score 15 rushing touchdowns if it meant Ashton Jeanty doesn't play? That's kind of an interesting question. I'm not going to lie.
If that's the case, pick Mike Washington up in fantasy right now for taking that deal.
It's kind of an interesting question. I guess I probably would take 15 rushing touchdowns from Mike Washington Jr. over having Ashton Jeanty.
I'm going to say devil's advocate. You let Mendoza develop 1 year. You save the tread on Jeanty's tires. You're ready next year to go crazy. If this were the case, I know it's not.
Yeah, I think, the emergence of Mike just being another reliable running back has been and again, he was one of my favorite backs coming out of college, but he's looked way better than I thought he would. He's looked really, really good.
His big thing was just fumbling the ball. He hasn't done that yet, so.
Yeah.
As long as he keeps that in check, he can be a very good running back at this level.
Gotcha. I'm looking right now. CJ, what up, CJ? CJ, I see your super chat. Once we get that one up on screen, we're going to get into the next segment here on the program. I got the pint glasses last week. Who is Marshall Wrench? And why did he sign one? Just kidding. Does Porter lose the starting job inside of 4 games? Please give my tickets to Sherlock. All right. Give 2 tickets to Sherlock if you could. Marshall Wrench, that's hilarious. Marshall Green. I do think that Darian Porter is going to lose this job inside of the first 4 games. And I don't know if it's necessarily Darian Porter's going to lose it or if Jermod McCoy or Hezekiah Massis are going to steal it from him. Because, you're seeing some of the reports already. Like, Porter is struggling at practice. He has been. Like, Porter has been struggling. He's been getting beat. Now, today, he made a few good plays on Brock Bowers, which is a good sign. But what I believe is going to happen is this. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw last year a little bit with Kai Blue Kelly. What do I mean? Teams aren't going to throw near Eric Stooks as much. They're going to target Porter. And I think we know that as fans of the number one player that I think offensive coordinators are going to go after on our defense in that secondary, they're going to go after Darian Porter unless Isaiah Palomal is out there. And I think after a while, Porter's going to get picked on, and then there's going to have to be somebody else that steps up, whether that be Massis, whether that be a Jermod McCoy, though I do think the more and more reps you give McCoy, the better he's going to be long-term. And if this year is a rebuild year, I'm kind of in the sense of let's just throw McCoy out there into the fire. Let's let him get those reps in. Let's let him get better, and then that way, by the time we go next year, McCoy's got a full year underneath his belt, and hopefully by then he looks like the corner that you saw in 2024 at Tennessee. But I do think that Darian Porter loses this job. It'll be a fun one to watch, though. But, again, I don't know if it's so much Porter losing the job, or how about we frame it as Jermod McCoy or Hezekiah Masses steal it from him. I'd rather frame it like that. Thompson said, bro, if we're talking TDs, then we're dominating on offense. You're right, dude. I mean, I was literally like, I don't know if I want Ashton Jeanty to be out. But I'm like, if Mike Washington Jr. runs for 15 rushing touchdowns.
Can't really complain about it.
Can't really complain about Ashton Jeanty going down. Can't really complain. All right, y'all. Next segment coming up here is, I like to call it roster bubble candidates. You could also say, players that they got everything to lose, players that are fighting for their lives, their job, their manhood. But there's just certain players that I root for. And whether it's through stories, whether it's just from covering them, whatever it might be, I'm going to give y'all 6 players that I'm really, really rooting for up here in this game. I got you. Which, let me change real quick. Well, don't tell him I forgot my shirt again. All right, I'm fully changed. Fully changed. You guys saw my full wardrobe change. And I'll change again next show, I promise. I'll change again next show. You ready? All right, let me get to my spot where I need to be. And I think I am ready to go. Ready to go. Hopefully y'all are ready to go. We're going to do this segment, and then after that, I got one more to do. Fantasy raffle, duck race. Hope that you guys get in. Hopefully y'all are having a good time. And if you haven't yet already, hit that like button. I do see that we crossed 200 likes. So here's how this is going to go. Whoever comments the most during this next segment, I'm going to give the 3 people that comment the most in this next segment 2 raffle tickets to get into my fantasy football league. Is that fair? So 3 people, 6 raffles in total to all y'all out there, whoever comments the most. Shout out to Sector. Shout out to Sector. You know what, Sector? That was clever. I'm just going to give you 2. I want y'all to spam Raiders, though, down below. Sector, I got you. You could spam Raiders. You can comment Mendoza. You can comment F the 49ers. You can comment Ashton Jeanty. I don't care. Whoever comments the most, you're going to get 2 tickets to get into my fantasy league. You ready? Y'all ready for this? Coming up, roster bubble candidates right here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, it's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Prize Picks. Use code HMA, and if you win your first $5 lineup, you're going to go home with $150 in lineups to play with. So on the Raiders Report today, I want to look at players that I would say have everything to lose. Players that I would say are on the roster bubble. Players that I will say I'm rooting for, because we have to be able to face the facts. The final preseason game is a game that is an opportunity for a lot of players to go out there and earn a job. It's also, sadly, the last time that some of these dudes get a chance to play on an NFL roster. So to all the Raiders players out there, I want you guys to be playing like you got to earn that shield, like you've been earning that shield all off season long. So there are the 6 players that I'm about to talk about here on the show. I'm rooting for you, and quite frankly, I think all of Raider Nation is rooting for you to make this team. But you got to go out there and you got to make it. Let's go to the first roster bubble candidate that I will say I'm rooting for to make this squad, and I'm rooting for to be able to see up against the 49ers. Wide receiver, Shedrick Jackson, the great nephew to, I would say, the greatest athlete of all time in Bo Jackson. He's been on the Raiders since 2024, and he's been a player that has flashed at times. If you can look at me and you can tell me that Shedrick Jackson has never flashed on a football field, you haven't watched every Raider snap. I've watched every single Raider snap since the last 10 years of this team, and I'm telling you, when I've seen Jackson play, there's been some good. There's been some times last year. Kenny Pickett, 25-yard touchdown. Love what I saw. But in the first 2 preseason games, 34 snaps on offense, 14 snaps on special teams. If Jackson makes this squad, he's got to be able to show that not only can he make plays on offense, stretching the field, he can also help out in special teams. He's got legit 4.2 40-yard speed, but I do think it's that extra competitive advantage. It's that speed, but he has to be able to show that he can win on special teams, because I know this. Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Jack Besh, Malik Benson, those are players that I would say with confidence are a lock to make this roster. I'll also say that Derek Young is a player that I believe ends up making the squad too from a special team standpoint, but Clint Kubiak essentially called out the wide receivers the other day, saying that they took a step back. Well, I'm looking for Jackson to take a step forward. A player that's seen 5 targets this preseason. He's got 3 grabs, 55 yards. Let's go make another splash. And I remember last year, in that final preseason game, I remember Jackson playing well in that one. I'm hopeful, and that's going to be somebody that I'm rooting for, and I know I'm not the only Raiders fan that's rooting for Shedrick Jackson. Let's go to another player that I'm going to have my eyes on, and I think more Raiders fans should have their eyes on Devin Tompkins at wide receiver. There is a legitimate shot Tompkins makes this squad. When I say legitimate, I'm going to say 50-50. It's a coin flip. And if you would have told me a few weeks ago when the Raiders signed Tompkins that it's a coin flip that he makes this squad, I don't think I would have believed you. But I talked to somebody when I was out in Las Vegas, a bunch of people. And I had one guy tell me in particular that he's a spark plug. But he's a spark plug to this team. He's a spark plug on offense. He's a spark plug on special teams. And in his first 2 preseason games with the Raiders, 23 snaps on offense, 18 snaps on special teams. But look at the production. 15 receiving yards, 114 kickoff return yards, 25 punt return yards. Devin Tompkins has been getting work with the 2s. He's been a player that, like I'm telling you see him in open field, and he's really tough to get a hand on. When I think about my Raiders wide receiver room, if that 6th receiver, and let's face it, if Devin Tompkins makes this squad, he's probably the last Raiders receiver that makes this squad. Do we agree with that statement? If your answer to that statement is yes, well then, I think that bottom of the Raiders roster guy needs to be able to contribute in a multitude of different ways, which Tompkins has done. The Raiders have thrown him the football, 3 catches, 15 yards. The Raiders have ran the ball with him. He's got 1 carry for 4 yards. But the kick return, the punt return, when you see a guy get that much action in the preseason, there's a reason behind it. The Raiders want to see what they got. They want to put the ball in his hand. But I also know that Tompkins has John Spytek ties. And again, we're not talking about big-time numbers here, but when you have a certain guy that goes through different organizations, through different front offenses, and still is able to contribute in special teams, that does matter to a lot of teams. And maybe Tompkins ends up only being a practice squad player, but I do know that this is somebody that I'm rooting for, somebody that, quite frankly, I've enjoyed watching, because when he catches the ball, you can tell defenses panic. And he's small at 5'8". He's 160 pounds, I think, soaking wet. But that's a dude that, in the open field, strikes terror in defensive coordinators' eyes. And I just think, quite frankly, that's something that we need to see a little bit more of going forward. But coming up here next, a player that I met at the NFL Combine, and a player that I had a really, really cool conversation with, and I can't wait to show all of y'all who that player is here in just a moment. But before I do, shout out to our sponsor, Chubbies, and I actually had a few Raiders fans the other day telling me, like, dude, these Chubby shorts are next level. These Chubby shirts are next level, and they really are. They are super comfortable. Like, I love putting Chubbies in my backpack when I go to Las Vegas, and I don't know, sometimes my wife gets mad at me, but I don't need a carry. Like, all I need is a carry-on bag. I don't need a bag that I'm putting underneath. So when I have Chubby shorts, a T-shirt, I can put them in my bag, And they're not going to get wrinkly. They're great for any occasion, especially how hot it is out in Las Vegas. But this is the best time of the year. And the fact that football season has arrived, it's time to get game day ready. And if you guys don't know, use promo code ChatSports for $20 off Chubbies. This is a new offer. It's not 20% off. It's $20 off your purchase at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. But you probably noticed, they got Raiders game day stuff. If you plan on watching the Raiders and you're like, I don't know what I want to wear, because I've had this problem when I go out to Las Vegas, because the last time I went out to Vegas, it was 110 degrees. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to wear a Raiders jersey. I'm going to sweat through it. So I did bring my Chubbies. I wore my Chubbies actually at the golf course I went to. Shout out to the Summit. There was a super awesome experience for Alex and I. We played a little bit of pickleball. That's neither here nor there. But for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our viewers $20 off your full price purchase with code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com. That's code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com. That includes the NFL by Chubbies collection. Support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Stand out from the crowd and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. With bold designs featuring your favorite teams, Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos, gym-ready mesh shorts, and wave-making swim trunks. Yep, you heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team's logo on them. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, every chest bump, every dramatic fourth quarter meltdown, and hopefully every Raiders Report game day. Promo code ChatSports, $20 off Chubbies. Link down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. So let's go to the next player on the roster bubble that I'm really hoping for, and I'm hoping he plays well. But I'm also really excited to see him because he's going to get some opportunities in this preseason game. It's UDFA running back out of Indiana, Roman Hemby. And, I had a really cool conversation with Hemby at the Combine, and I asked him, what would it mean for you to be a backup running back to Ashton Jeanty? And I love the answer that Hemby gave me. And he essentially was just, saying, I know what it's going to take for a running back like me to make a roster. He spoke about pass protection. He spoke about, just the importance of being able to catch the football, being able to not only protect the quarterback, but, being able to protect himself when it comes to pass protection. They brought him in as a UDFA. So the fact that Ashton Jeanty is dealing with this ankle injury, and we still do not know at the moment that I'm recording this video, literally how long he's going to be out for. We have guesses, and I think the guess right now is that Jeanty is going to be out 3 to 6 weeks is based on some of the things that I'm hearing. But to me, they're using him at special teams. They're using him on kick returns. He's going to get some opportunities, and I really, really want to see Roman Hemby go out there and do the damn thing, because Mike Washington Jr., I don't know if he's going to play in this final preseason game. If it was up to me, I don't want to risk Mike Washington Jr. getting hurt. And don't get me wrong, I love watching our players play. But if it was up to me, I think getting reps with Dylan Laube, Roman Hemby, and Dare Agumbawale and making this a three-headed running back attack in this final preseason game is way more important than seeing anything Mike Washington Jr. or Ashton Jeanty would have to give. So in the preseason action so far, 9 carries, 34 yards, and he's averaging 3.8 yards per carry right now. But one of the things that I like to do here on this show is we're going to have difficult conversations, because I know this coaching staff is about to have a lot of really, really difficult conversations. So the game is going to be this. You can keep only one. Let's just say you've gone through your 52-man roster. You can either keep Roman Hemby at running back, you can either keep Shedrick Jackson at wide receiver, or you can keep Devin Tompkins also at wide receiver. You're about to get in with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down, give me your answer, because my answer is going to be Roman Hemby. And that might be a little bit of a surprise to some people out there. But the reason why I'm going to keep Roman, it's just the timing of everything right now with Ashton Jeanty. Because of the injury to Jeanty, I just want to make sure that I'm not rushing him back, and our running back backfield is up to the caliber. I know that some people are going to believe in Dylan Laube. I just don't know if I'm going to be one of those guys. And if we're going to have Mike Washington Jr. out there be our bell cow, I also just want to know that maybe Dare, maybe Roman, maybe Dylan Laube can go in there. But also, I do think that Hemby can provide some special teams factors in the kickoff return game. It's not that I don't like Shedrick Jackson. It's not that I don't like Devin Tompkins. Hell, I had Devin Tompkins on my most recent 53-man roster. It was a decision that I had to make, but that was also before the Ashton Jeanty injury. Because of the Jeanty injury, I would keep Roman Hemby over Devin Tompkins. If you told me Ashton Jeanty is going to be ready for week 1, I'll keep Devin Tompkins over Jeanty. But for that logic and that analysis, that's why I want people to subscribe to the Raiders Report. You're going to become a smarter Raiders fan. You're going to become a better Raiders fan. And I think oftentimes people get mad when I say you're going to become a better fan. I say that you're going to become a better fan because of stuff like this. And I saw this message the other day, and I love that I saw it, and I don't always see comments like this, but really, really wanted to put this message on here. And I don't even know if this guy's going to see it, but shout out to Shep. I might be one of the 5 people who only watch these videos outside after the live has already ended. I tried to catch every single one, which is why I'm 3 weeks behind right now. So I have learned some Raiders Report fans will watch the shows in order. So I do know that some people are 3 weeks behind for some of our live shows. Sending Michael nothing but positive energy. You made it this far, big guy. Keep on keeping on. Beat this. Can't wait to see you on the Raiders Report, chugging a beer with Mitch years down the line. I hope Michael and his dad see this, whether or not they do, sending positive energy to Big Michael. We did a show 3 weeks ago on a young man. His name is Michael. He's 11 years old. He's battling cancer right now. His dad reached out to me. He's a diehard Raiders fan. To Michael and your family, I want you to know there are still people that ask me about you all the time. You will become a smarter Raiders fan. You're going to become a better Raiders fan. And I say you're going to become a better Raiders fan because every day we make this community better. We make Raider Nation better. And if you want to be a part of it, hit that subscribe button. But I saw that message, and I think more people should see that message. We are creating something really cool here on the Raiders Report. Let's keep it moving. Raiders on the roster bubble. That I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for Kean Sloan. And if you've been somebody that's watched this show at all this offseason, you'll know that the moment that the Raiders signed Sloan, I was excited about it. How can I say that? Well, I put out a UDFA grades video, and it was my highest grade that I gave out. I have known Sloan as a UDFA baller, but I also have known that because money talks, and I follow the money. He was the highest paid UDFA for the Las Vegas Raiders this past year. Not a lot of money. A lot of money to me, $273,000, but he's been somebody that has been talked about, that has been good. He's also asking the right questions. I'm telling you, people love him, and I know this statement, some people are going to look at this as good, some people are going to look at this as a backhanded compliment. But Kean Sloan is not Max Crosby from an athletic standpoint. He's not there. But what he does have is the motor, the want, the tenacity, the want to be better, the idea of, hey, man, I can't just sit back and get better. Kean Sloan is a hustler. And in those first 2 preseason games, he's got 43 snaps on defense. But this is what I think is important. 29 snaps on special teams, the most out of any special teams player. What does that tell me? Clint Kubiak's trying to find a spot. The Raiders are trying to find a spot for the UDFA out of NC State, Kean Sloan, and I'm telling you right now, I think he's going to make this roster. And I do know that the Raiders also really like this defensive end room. They love Max Crosby, obviously. Kwity Paye's been getting some interesting work. This might be an unpopular take, but I've been watching more and more film. I'm very disappointed in what I've seen on film so far from Malcolm Koonce. I actually am kicking myself in the butt for not making him a loser because I don't really see enough energy out of Malcolm. And maybe he's just trying not to get hurt. Maybe he's just trying not to go through the motions. But you watch Malcolm Koonce's get off, and then you watch a young man like Harvey, a Kean Sloan. You watch some of these other players, they're trying to go out and get after the quarterback. And what I see on film right now from Malcolm is he looks like he's just trying to go out there and go through the motions. You get mad at me for saying that, but that's just how I see it because I see a guy like Kean Sloan. Watch Kean Sloan. Here's the perfect way to go watch Malcolm Koonce tape. Go watch Kean Sloan. Go watch Malcolm Koonce. It looks like 2 totally different players. And I'm not saying that Kean Sloan's better than Malcolm. I'm saying the effort. The effort from Kean is why that's a guy that I'm rooting for. It's why that I want to see him make this roster because he's got 5 tackles, 4 quarterback hits, 1 sack, 2 pressures. You can get mad at me for calling him the great value version of Max Crosby. but I'm hoping he turns into a very great value for the Las Vegas Raiders. I got more roster bubble candidates that got everything to lose that I'm rooting for coming up here in just a moment, but I also got to tell you about our other sponsor here on the program. It's Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app out there, and I see a lot of people right now showing love to the Raiders, showing love to Prize Picks, and if you want to show a little love to me, give me a follow on Prize Picks at MitchellRents365. Even though I do not have a Raiders lineup yet for this 49ers preseason game, I'm hopeful that I have one by kickoff. Every time I check Prize Picks, I don't see more or lesses out there yet for this game. But if you do play your first $5 lineup and you win because of our new user offer, over on Prize Picks, if you win, you're going to go home with $150 in lineups to play with. I'm actually glad Lopez is showing me this one here because we're live on Tuesday. You guys are seeing this show on Wednesday, unless you're live. Then obviously you're seeing it on Tuesday. But I don't know about y'all. When I saw a video of Jamar Chase today at practice, I slacked Lopez and I was like, dude, how you doing? Because there was a few of us that were going, man, that looked bad. Sounds like it's cramps. Sounds like he's going to be okay. But, I have to put some different lineups in. The lineup that you see over here is a Lopez lineup. And if you're going, well, why is it Raiders and Bengals? Well, one, you got to pick another player from another team. It can't just be only Raiders. Lopez was an LSU guy. Jamar Chase, obviously, there's the connection. But I'll say this, Fernando Mendoza, I don't know. I'm looking at him. He's like, He says it's going to happen. All right, hey, it might happen. It could happen. Well, if you think it is going to happen, put your money where your mouth is. You can either give me a follow, you can give Lopez a follow, but I do mean this. If you plan on watching the Raiders Report this season, go download the Prize Picks app today. Use code HMA, and if you win your first $5 lineup, you're going to be able to go home with $150 in lineups. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's go to another roster bubble candidate that I'm rooting for, and I think a lot of Raiders fans are rooting for Patrick Johnson, and I think the hardest problem's not the right word, hardest part about the preseason is just because you play well in the preseason, and let's be clear, there hasn't been a better player for the Raiders on defense than Patrick Johnson. Hell, I think the only player that I might say has been better overall, bigger winner from the preseason is maybe Mike Washington Jr., but back-to-back games, preseason week 1, preseason week 2, highest graded PFF player, 88.7, 90.3. And the first 2 preseason games, 63 snaps on defense. They are trying to see him in a bunch of different looks. 14 snaps on special teams. Hell, he was just signed to this roster on July 27th, and that was the day before veterans reported the training camp. And I'll tell you this, it's a guy that he's filling up the stat sheet. Like, Patrick Johnson is not a dude that I think a lot of us even thought could make this squad. And quite frankly, the Raiders' defensive end unit is turning into a much deeper unit than I originally thought that they were going to be. But if you're a believer of, hey, you got to go out there and you got to play. And if you want guys that are filling up a stat sheet and going out there and giving you 110%, and I listened to his presser the other day, he just sounded like a player that was smart, a player that was a professional, a player that you knew that you could count on in July and August to make everybody else around him better because he's going to bring competition. And that's what Patrick Johnson has done. He's got 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, a forced fumble. He's been flying all over the football field, and I'll tell you this, Patrick, I've really enjoyed watching you. I've really enjoyed covering you, and I'm rooting for Patrick Johnson to make this roster, even though I don't really see how he ends up making it. But let's go to the final player here, and it's going to be Greedy Vance. Greedy Vance, the former UDFA from USC, a nickel corner that is just, I think, finding himself in the right role. If the Raiders weren't going to go and depend on nickel package as much as what nickel and dime, they're going to really depend on 3-3-5. They're really going to depend on nickel and dime packages this season. Because of Taron Johnson, because that's the role they want Greedy to play. They invested in Taron Johnson. They want Traden Stukes to play free safety. They're obviously going to use Traden as well in certain moments to bring him back down and be that top nickel corner. But they're trying to get a look on Greedy. And Greedy's made plays. He's got 3 interceptions alone on Fernando Mendoza. In the first 2 preseason games, 76 snaps on defense. That's the second most. They are trying to see what they have in Greedy. 8 snaps on special teams. But also, he brings that cover element. And yes, he's undersized, but Greedy's a dog, man. He is. He's not afraid to tackle. Not a great tackler, but he's not afraid to get his nose in there, and he's not afraid to tell you, How he feels. 73.7 overall coverage grade according to PFF this preseason, but Greedy Vance is a hard-nosed player. And if the Raiders end up keeping 6 corners, then you can count them out with me. Eric Stokes, Taron Johnson, Darian Porter, Hezekiah Massis, Dramad McCoy. Those are, to me, are your top 6 without a doubt that you're keeping. It's just who then is after that, which I got to update the depth chart. Chiganuzzi, I mean, he's out. He's on the IR. But, like, I would say that it comes down to DeCamerion Richardson or Greedy Vance. DeCamerion might help you out more on special teams, but Greedy Vance is the better nickel corner. For that reason, they're going to use Greedy, and they used him a ton in that preseason game against the Texans. He led the team with 10 tackles. He's got 11 this preseason overall, but I'm rooting for Greedy because I want guys like Greedy on my roster. And if I'm picking between Greedy Vance or DeCamerion Richardson, DeCamerion's more athletic, probably more talented, but Greedy Vance is a better football player. I'll take a better football player over the better athlete. So, one more time here. My Raiders roster bubble candidates that got everything to lose that I'm rooting for up against the 49ers. Shedrick Jackson, Devin Tompkins, Roman Hemby on the offensive side of the football. And then on defense, my eyes are going to be glued to Kean Sloan, Patrick Johnson, and Greedy Vance. If there's another player that you thought, hey, man, how did you not bring this guy up? You're making it this far in the video. Let me know down below. But if you do not know, I will be live 1 hour before kickoff. I will be here on the Raiders Report 1 hour before kickoff. It's going to be a fun time. I don't even know what prizes we're going to give away yet. We gave away a signed Bo Jackson helmet last week. We're going to give away something really freaking special this week. And hopefully over thousands upon thousands of dollars like we've been doing. If you don't know my live schedule, I'm going to be live. This is, I think technically this should be 7 p.m. Eastern time if the game starts at 8. Yeah, I actually think we accidentally I think that one is in Central Time. But I'm going to be live for the Raiders-49ers game. I'm going to be live after the Raiders-49ers game on Friday, and then I know I go live on Sundays when it's game day, but typically Sunday is a day in the off-season that I'm off. Since the season gets rolling here, I'm probably going to start working some Sundays again. But because the NFL roster cut-down day is this Sunday, I will be live 2 hours before the official cut-down time, which is August 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Put it in your calendar or hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way, every time I go live, you don't miss it here on the Raiders Report. All right, y'all, we got one more segment to be able to get into, and I would say the people that commented the most, I see Zalesbo a bunch, though I see a bunch of the moderators, and I wonder that if it only allowed the moderators' messages to come through. They're like, they put you kind of in timeout a little bit. Gotcha. All right, well, how about this? Let's go. What's up? I am on Top Chat. All right, so I got Zalesbo. I saw a bunch of comments from Zalesbo. I also saw a bunch from Mike Nando. Those are going to be the top 2 names that I saw. Mike Nando, Zalesbo. Let's go with also, let me go back up. Yeah, Mike Nando, Big Raz I got. Let's go with Danny Strange. He's at number 3, which means he's commenting a bunch. All right, Danny, I got you. All right, so we gave him to Zalesbo, Mike Nando, Danny Strange. Pop Toes trying to get some extra ones. Who else think Mitch is the GOAT? All right, Pop Toes, I see you. Hey, I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. If you want to get in the duck race, $20 Venmo. At Mitchell Renz 365. Right now, you'd be in for a shot to win. The last time that I checked was 20 to win, $70. Now it is up to $90 here on the show. Joe Guy, Craig Nelson, you guys are in. $20 Venmo shot to win. $90 here on the program. So the deals. I'm going to mention these deals one more time. Every 100 likes, we're going to give away some chances to get in my fantasy league, though. We got to get to 300 likes. We're 75 likes away. If you want to get in my fantasy football league, $5 super chat, ask me a question. I'm going to get you a raffle ticket. And then at the end of today's program, we're going to spin a wheel. Maybe we do a duck race. I don't know. I'll let it up to Lopez. And we'll spin it. Let's just spin a wheel. And then whoever it lands on, you end up getting a dub. $20 Venmo to get in the duck race. If you end up buying an Ashton Jeanty shirt today, right now they are 20% off. And the moment that this live show ends, the deal's over. We did a flash sale. I just saw Justine Gonzalez got one. Eric, I don't know what name this is, Eric. What's funny to me is sometimes when y'all order stuff, it asks for your official name. I want you to know that. And I want you to see the name that I just put in there. Eric, is that your real name, bro? You don't think? Yeah. You don't think? I don't know. Maybe. That's hilarious. Okay, y'all. This is, by the way, the Jeanty shirt that I was talking about. That link is down in the comments. It's down in the description of today's show, chatsports.com/RRshop. The only shirt that is on 20% off is this one. All the other shirts are full price, but because Jeanty, the news around him, even though we still don't technically know the official news, I think we'd all say it looks like it's much better news than what we thought it was going to be on Sunday. And again, the video that I put out earlier today was around Jeanty, and it was around what I talked about yesterday on the show, and it was about what Ian Rappaport said today and what Schefter said. So it looks good. The good news, there's a lot of good positive news right now around Jeanty. What up, Nab, man? Jed York wearing those chubbies. It's just such a crazy story, and I get it. People do crazy shit when they're horny, but I just can't wrap my mind around being a billionaire trying to go get a $140 rub until I get a trailer park. Like, I'll tell you this right now, I'm not a billionaire. I wouldn't go to a trailer park and go to get a $140 rub and tug.
Yeah, I wouldn't. There's no blue chip talent in middle of nowhere, Ohio. Believe it or not.
I just, it's not where I'm not, it's not happening.
No.
It's not happening, man. Gunny, better late than never. What up, fam? If you don't know, go to saveawarrior.org for veterans and first responders struggling. Semper Fi, LA Crash Dog. Shout out to my guy, Gunny. Richard Engel. I think Richard just got in the duck race. What up, Richard?
We also got Stabler with his super chat. Shout out to you. You are now getting your tickets as well.
What's up, Stabler? Mitch, will Fernando Mendoza eventually be the greatest quarterback ever to wear the silver and black? That's the hope, right? Like, will he? Shit, man, I hope.
He has to pass up Jamarcus Russell first. Get past that. And
the only way. How about this? I think the only way that this conversation, you can even have it, is Fernando has to win a Super Bowl. He's got to win a Super Bowl. If Fernando Mendoza doesn't win a Super Bowl, he will never be in this conversation. He doesn't deserve to be in this conversation. When you're the number one overall pick, I'm sorry, it changes it. I expect Fernando Mendoza to at least put us in the playoffs. It's hard to expect a Super Bowl. Nobody should expect a Super Bowl. But when you're the number one overall pick and you're a quarterback, I do think that the hope is that you win a Super Bowl. If Fernando Mendoza wins a Super Bowl with the Raiders, I do think that he will go down in the history books as the greatest quarterback of all time, only because of all the bad quarterback play that we've had to deal with recently, and the fact that the Raiders haven't had a team win a playoff game since 2002. I think when you have to deal with all of that and how bad we've been, if he wins the Super Bowl, he will go down in the books as the greatest Raiders quarterback of all time. But if you don't win a Super Bowl, we're not having a conversation about it. What's up, Rebel? Which NFL teams to look at for Sunday cut day? So it's actually going to be something that I probably end up doing a video around. For those that do not know, the Raiders have the #1 waiver priority for roster cut down day. So obviously, there's going to be a bunch of teams. They're going to be making a bunch of roster cuts. And I think for the Raiders, there are teams out there I'm going to look at wide receiver rooms. I haven't looked at them yet, but one of the videos that you guys are going to get probably before roster cut down day is going to be a video around me looking at players that could get cut that the Raiders could potentially be interested in going out and signing, because we do have the #1 priority on the waivers.
Can I interest you in Saints kicker Charlie Smith?
Based on what Joe DiCamillo said today about Matt Gay, I think we can stop talking about a kicker.
You don't want Charlie Smith anyway. You don't want anybody in that Saints kicking room aside maybe Daniel Carlson. We haven't seen him yet, though.
There's going to be some names, there's going to be some players that I look at, no doubt about it. Are we all caught up?
I believe so.
We are all caught up. Rebel says, let's go to the preview. Let's go to the preview. So, previews are a little bit difficult, I think, to do sometimes, like for preseason games, because I'm literally about to do a preview, and I don't even know who's necessarily playing. So what I did this preview is what I know all Raider fans should expect. And the way that I'm going to outline them is basically like my keys for Clint Kubiak. Like, there's obviously keys that all of us want to see, but I have 5 keys on offense, 5 keys on defense that I think if I see improvements in these areas, I'm going to feel better about the game. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I know that the Raiders had a comeback from behind win up against the Texans last week, 22-20. But I don't know, like leaving that game last week, I just felt like I had so many unanswered questions. And I just don't want to feel like that this week. So what I really tried to do on this preview coming up is I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what I'm trying to wrap my mind around, things that I'm looking for, improvements that I want to see, offense and defense. And if our coaching staff can show me that those improvements are made, yeah, that's obviously a good thing. As soon as this segment is over, we will then do the duck race. We will then give away it's basically like the final raffle spot or the final entry to get into the Fantasy Football League, because the August bang race, I think, is going to go to Jerry Danley or LCA. They're already in the Fantasy League. So that means Jerry, I believe, is going to get to pick somebody else to put in. And then Lord Cameron Abbott, he came in second place for our second preseason game. And the person who came in second place also got to give away a spot. And he's already in. So, I think what's going to happen is LCA is going to get the pick. Jerry's going to get the pick. It's going to be interesting, man. So if you want a chance to get in the Fantasy Football League, right now it is a 10-team league. 10-team league. Though Jerry's got a significant lead in the August bang race. It's actually not one of the biggest leads I've ever seen. I think the biggest technical win in a bang race, Raider Ron once won a month by 60-plus bangs. That was last year.
One more Thursday night game.
I don't even know if but there was one month. So the month it was last year, Ron had the biggest Venmo of all time. That was during the draft last year. Ron technically won that bang race by 60-plus bangs. It was wild. It was wild. It was wild. It was wild. All right, y'all. Let's go. Let's get into this preview. Let's get it going. Let's get it going, which I'm actually surprised that. So in the future, if it says spread, I think put that on the Raiders side. No, I know. It's not a big deal, but yeah, why don't you switch that real quick? Sorry, y'all. I don't know what's going on. My shoes, they keep untying. I think I just keep stepping on the freaking laces. These laces also 1,000,000% do not belong to these shoes. I just recently tried to wash some of my shoes. Not good. Well, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I have really, bad feet. Alex hates it. So, she's just always making me clean my shoes. Kirk says, hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, once in a while, you're going to see some skin. You know what I mean? I always say bring your drinking pants, but, yeah, you guys don't get to see these drinking thighs all that much. Drinking thighs. It's,
90% of these shows, Mitch is not wearing pants.
Shirt cocking it. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? All right, hang on. Wardrobe change. Wardrobe change. I feel like this hat, I love that Prize Picks gave us the hat, but I also have a tiny head. Pause. I feel like this hat on me looks like the hats that Luigi, Mario, all the guys, the characters wearing Mario baseball and stuff. Yes, I feel like I look like Pablo Sanchez with this hat on. The P stands for Pablo Sanchez. Oh, man. All right, y'all, let's get it. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. One more segment to get to here on the Raiders Report, and then somebody's going to go home with some money, and somebody's going to get in my fantasy football league. Let's get into this Raiders preview. Any chance for fitted hats soon from Grandpa? There is actually a chance that we get fitted hats. I think the hardest part about getting fitted hats is we just have to order them in just so much more bulk, and there's a chance that we don't sell them. But from what I understand, yes, there is a chance that we get fitted hats. But it's a me, Mario. It's a me, Mitchell Renz. That's how I feel. 365 mixed in there a little bit with Borat. All right, let's go. You ready? Let's get it. Final segment coming up here on the Raiders Report, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Raider Nation, it's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming at you with a Raiders 49ers preview prediction. And you know what? I got some keys to victory for Clint Kubiak, but maybe not so much keys. Keys that I want to see our coaching staff do on the offense and on the defensive side of the football, so I feel better about this game. If you don't know, our show is presented by our good friends over at Prize Picks, and you can get $150 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. This game means a lot to Raider Nation, and I bet you it means a lot to a lot of the 49ers fans out there. So I'm going to ask this question, and I think that this is the only question that I'm going to ask on this entire show. This is the Battle of the Bay. So, who rules the Bay? If you bleed silver and black, give me a Raider Nation down below. If you're watching the show and you're a 49ers fan, why don't you get your owner Jed York in place before you start typing that type of shit? So coming up here on the Raiders Report, I got a Raiders 49ers preview, keys on offense and defense, and then at the very end of the show, my Raiders 49ers prediction. And when I am doing this video, it is very important to note that Clint Kubiak and this coaching staff have not really even said what they're going to be doing in terms of who's playing and who's not playing. So going into this, I am having the impression of the starters are not going to play, and we're going to see a lot of the backups out there. If Fernando Mendoza is out there and he's playing, you better protect him a lot better. And I'll just say it like this. If the Raiders put Mendoza out on the field, you better put some starters out there with them. I saw this tweet from Warren Sharp, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I was a little bit frustrated from that Week 2 preseason game of I was happy we got to see Mendoza get out there, but I wanted to see Mendoza with the starters. I wanted to see Mendoza get some work with this starting offense because I don't feel like that we're putting him out there in the best situation because the offensive line hasn't been playing well and some of the receivers around him. But Sharp said Fernando Mendoza has been hit 9 times this preseason. No other potential starter has been hit more than 5 times. His 27% hit rate is over 2 times the NFL average, 12.5%. When pressured, his hit rate leaps to 69%, average 44%. And his accuracy ranks 42 out of 45 quarterbacks. When do you start him? So I saw that by Warren Sharp, and obviously I want the Raiders to protect Fernando Mendoza better. But actually, when I went and I looked at Mendoza's snaps, I actually count that he gets hit 11 times, 10 or 11 times. I think it's between those two numbers. So clearly, they just need to protect the quarterback a little bit better. Let's go to the next part here of what I want to see in this preseason game. I want to see Andrew Janocko, Mike Sullivan, and anybody, Clint Kubiak, that has anything to do with the quarterbacks. Let's find a way to play turnover-free quarterback football. I had to deal with it with Jimmy Garoppolo. I had to deal with it with freaking Gardner Minshew. Had to deal with it, last year with Geno Smith. If the Raiders want to win football games, we need to play turnover-free football. And that starts, obviously, at the quarterback position. And, Kirk Cousins looked phenomenal in that first preseason game. Aiden O'Connell has had some ups. He's had some downs. Fernando Mendoza, obviously, that first bad pick six. Nobody likes to see that. But for this team to be successful, we need to play turnover-free football. We need to win the turnover battle. We are not good enough as a football team to not win the turnover battle. And I get it. It's just a preseason game, but I remember the freaking Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers, and I was blown away how many people rooted for the Chiefs. I know the hatred in the Bay. So for all the Raiders players out there, this might just be the third preseason game to you. There's a lot of guys out there that are fighting for jobs, and I know that. This game's also very important to Raider Nation, so I hopefully players show up and show out because I do want to win this game, and we got to play turnover-free football in order to do that. More offensive keys here for the Silver and Black. I don't know if we're going to get an opportunity to see JPJ and Caleb Rogers, and I know starters don't typically play, but am I crazy for saying I want to see Jackson Powers-Johnson out there on the field? I want to see Caleb Rogers out there on the field. I want to see. Tyler Linderbaum literally the other day at the presser said that he felt like that the offensive line wasn't where it should be because of the fact that they haven't been able to work together. If Tyler Linderbaum, the guy you just paid $27 million a year, is saying that, I want to see him out there with the guy that's going to be playing next to him on the right side, whether that's JPJ, whether that's Caleb Rogers. And you know what? I got some really cool stats coming up here in just a moment to show you on JPJ and Rodgers because, from a PFF standpoint, in the two preseason games, the snaps obviously favor Caleb, but overall, Rodgers has been better. Run blocking, JPJ's been better. I'll admit, I think the pass blocking grade is entirely too low, and I think, they're really only staring at one play where JPJ just gets totally lost and doesn't do anything. That's why I think the pass blocking grade is so low. But then also, the preseason stats, the one penalty against Jackson, the one sack that Jackson allowed. Caleb has been up and down himself, but there's no way anybody can tell me that they're confident right now in that right guard spot. And I say that knowing that I do believe in JPJ. I do believe in Caleb Rogers. But, I want to see and I want to feel better about this preseason game because after that game against Houston, I left that game just feeling questions. And, that's how it was. Bunch of question marks out there. I don't want to feel like that after this preseason game. So coming up here, the top two positions that I'm watching for Raider Nation, the top two position groups that Raiders fans need to be paying very close attention to because I bet you it's the number one position groups that this coaching staff are paying close attention to. And something that I want you to pay attention to. Our sponsor here, Prize Picks. Yes, it's the hat. Use code HMA if you want to get $150 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup over on Prize Picks. You probably are like me, and you maybe were sweating when you saw the Ashton Jeanty news on Sunday. Well, luckily, it looks like number 2 is going to be good to go this upcoming season. Not to say that he couldn't miss maybe 1 or 2 games this year, but over on Prize Picks, I got a bunch of season-long lineups in for Ashton Jeanty. And I did that because I'm a believer in this offense. I'm a believer in Clint Kubiak, and I'm a believer in Ashton Jeanty. And even if he doesn't go out there and play a game or 2, I'm still going to be really confident in the lineup that I got in on Prize Picks. Now, there might be a chance for me to get a injury reboot if he does end up missing a game or 2, and it could be a conversation that I have with myself. But if you follow me on Prize Picks at MitchellRens365, you can follow my lineups that I do. I'm going to try to get a lineup in for the Raiders preseason game against the 49ers. Obviously, at the time I'm recording this video, that's still not an option on Prize Picks. But I would imagine at the time you're watching this video, because I plan on putting this video out on game day morning on Thursday, I would imagine by then there's going to be some lineups that you can get started with on Prize Picks. But one thing that they already have is team picks. So if you're watching this video and you're going, Mitch, well, I can't go more or less on any Raiders players yet. Again, at the time I'm recording this, you cannot. I'm going to be pretty confident, and I believe that they're going to have some more or lesses for this final preseason game. But, the reason why they haven't put them out yet is because they don't know who's playing, because the Raiders haven't said who's playing yet. But if you're like, man, this game means something to me, you can pick the Raiders to beat the 49ers on Prize Picks. Team Picks is now available. And if I don't see any other players, I guarantee you I'm going to pick the Raiders to beat the 49ers over on Prize Picks. And you can too, down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Let's go to some more offensive keys that Raiders fans need to be looking for. It's time to shine, baby. And all these running backs, it's your time to shine. I know when they drafted Jeanty at number 6 overall, and I expected him to be the bell cow. And then they drafted Mike Washington Jr., and all of us were going, this is going to be the two-headed monster, the two-headed running backs room. And I do. I think Jeanty and Mike Washington Jr. should take up the majority of snaps, the majority of opportunities this season. Well, sometimes injuries happen. Quite frankly, they happen often in the NFL, and you need players that are ready to go. So to Dylan Laube, to Roman Hemby, to Dare Agumbawale, I'm looking at you guys, and I'm telling you, it's time to shine. It's time to showcase that you are not only good enough between the tackles, and you can see right now these running back preseason stats up on screen. I like what I see out of Dare, out of Laube, Roman Hemby. There is some good in here. But let's face the facts. The way that Laube, Dare, and Roman are going to make this team is what they do on special teams. So you got an opportunity here. And I know that there's not any players out there that are happy that Ashton went down. There's no fans that are happy that Ashton went down. But now we're in a situation that we're in. And to those 3 running backs, you're getting an opportunity that none of us really wanted to happen, but you're getting it. So it's time to shine. Whether it's offense, whether it's special teams, the Raiders running back room is playing the biggest game that they've played in all preseason long. And then let's go to the final thing that I'm watching for on offense. That wide receiver room needs to respond. If I was a receiver in that room and I saw what my head coach, Clint Kubiak, said, and it's been a group that's been based on competition. It's been a group, Trey Tucker said it again just the other day. He goes, no block, no rock. You want to be physical? This is going to be a team that's going to challenge you. And Clint Kubiak is challenging this wide receiver room based on the comments that he made earlier in the week after the Raiders-Texans game. He said, I learned a lot, and that we need to get a lot better fast. We took a step backwards. Doesn't mean we can't go forward. But right now, we are trying to find someone that is accountable and can help us on Sunday still looking. The Raiders moved on from Noah Brown earlier this week, so that means there's already one less wide receiver in that room. So whether it's a Shedrick Jackson, a Dante Thornton Jr., a Devin Tompkins, I don't care who it is. If your head coach is going to challenge you like that, you better be able to step up. Because what I think is going to happen is if the Raiders don't like what they have in the bottom of that roster, I do. I wonder if they could go out and they add a Juju Smith-Schuster, a Curtis Samuel, a bottom-of-the-roster wide receiver to add more talent to this room. Because the top 4 they're confident in. But even the top 4 guys we got would be one of the worst wide receiver rooms in the National Football League. That's just me keeping it a buck. Let's now go to the defensive keys, and I'm probably going to roll through these a little bit quicker. But as a Raiders fan, I know that it's just the preseason, and I know Rob Leonard has said that this defense has been playing a very vanilla-style defense. But at the same breath, our run defense needs to be better. Guys need to want to stop the run. And wanting and having a mentality has nothing to do with talent. So if you're going to hit me with Mitch, well, we just don't have a lot of talent out there on the field. It's the second, it's the third string guys. I think the want and the desire to stop the run. Also, can we clean up the missed tackles? These 2 things to me, I don't really think have too much to do with talent in this final preseason game. I want to see guys that have pride in stopping the run. I want to have guys that show me they're not going to olay and get out of the way, because the Raiders have 16 missed tackles this preseason. They had 12 in the first game. They had 4 in the second game. that shows improvement. But whether it's special teams, whether it's defense, the run tackling needs to be better. The missed tackles in general need to get cleaned up. What about this defensive tackle room? I want somebody from this defensive tackle room to step up because we need someone to step up. It sounds like right now Tonka and Adam Butler are your top 2 defensive tackles on this team. Fali Fakutasi, I hope he gets an opportunity to play. But to guys like Jonu Laolu, J.J. Pegues, Brandon Cleveland, Gary Smith III, Trevin Mahe, you guys got to go out there and you got to strap it on and you got to show that you deserve to make this team a team that I think is only going to keep 6 defensive tackles on the roster. What about other defensive keys? Are our young cornerbacks showing improvement? Eric Stokes is going to be the main guy. And what the Raiders have done really in the preseason is they're putting these players out there kind of in islands, and they're putting them out there in situations where it is very much sink or swim. The term, Kubiak's been kind of going with his baptism by fire. Well, to Jermod McCoy, to Cameron Richardson, Greedy Vance, Hezekiah Massis, I need all y'all to step up. To Devin Perkins, to Caleb Offord. It's probably going to be your last opportunity to show a team that you deserve to be on a practice squad. So even if we don't have a lot of talent, I want to see the penalties get cleaned up. I want to see that our assignments are understood a lot better. I want to see that our young team is getting coached up by this staff because that's what we need. We need a coaching staff to be able to show up and show out. One more thing that I got to get to here in just a moment, but I did see some really awesome comments, and this is a new feature that YouTube has where I can see certain comments, and when I see a few that are stacked up and they're really flipping cool, I can go in there and I can heart them. So I've been hearting a lot of different comments, but I've been hearting comments that I think people are a good part of what we provide here on the show. And what I mean by a good part of the community is I want people that are going to give their opinion. I want people that say hello to each other. I want people that make the community a better place. Think about the neighborhood that you live in. If the neighborhood you live in is a neighborhood that you would raise your family in, that's kind of how I want this neighborhood to be for the Raiders Report. A neighborhood that, don't get me wrong, Mitch could throw a cookout and we can get rowdy with the drinking pants, but it's also a neighborhood that maybe I don't got to lock my door, right? Because I know at the end of the day, you got my back because I got your back. So if you want to shout out on the Raiders Report, please go down to the comments section and get to know each other a little bit better. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Steven Hansen. I gave a shout out the other day on my social media, and I don't know if enough people saw it, but Steven Hansen donated 4 tickets to the Raiders 49ers preseason game. He also donated 4 tickets to the Raiders Cardinals preseason game. Big shout out to Joey Diaviglia for winning those 4 preseason tickets. Joey, if you could send me a photo just like my guy Raider Sancho did a few weeks ago, send us a photo. I'd love to be able to put it on the show. But Steven, this is the definition of what a real one is all about. This is what the Raiders Report community is all about. You don't have to be blood to be family. And we show that every single day here on this program. Let's go to the final key that I'm going to be looking for. It's special teams. And whether it's, DeCamerion Richardson getting pushed out of bounds, whether it's Kansai Matsuzawa going out there kicking an extra point or a field goal, whether it's Matt Gay, trotting out there, every single time, hell, long snapper, Alex Ward and Tyler Dzansky is still a wide open battle based on my understanding. I think Ward's got the upper hand, but this special teams room is still jam-packed with competition, still jam-packed with it's got to be cleaner. And I know that people are always talking about offense and defense, but damn it, when you talk about your special teams as much as we've been talking about our special teams, it's typically because it's not doing what it needs to be able to do. I want the Raiders to succeed on offense, defense, and special teams, especially when you're going up against the rival, especially when you're returning back to the Bay. And at the end of the day, if we want this coaching staff to be everything we want it to be, I do. We need to see improvements on offense, defense, and special teams, and that's what I want to see this final week. So if you made it this far in the video, let me know who you got. If you want to give me that score prediction, I did tell you at the very beginning of the show, I would give you my preview and prediction of this game. There's no way I'm picking the 49ers to win this game, and if I'm wrong, I don't give a shit. Give me the Raiders to get a dub, 27-24 on the road at Levi Stadium. That's my prediction. I hope that you guys give me your prediction down below, and I hope that you join me when I go live 1 hour before kickoff right here on the Raiders Report, because the Silver and Black up against the 49ers final preseason game is a must-watch activity. We're going to be giving away tons of prizes, tons of money here on the show. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure those notifications are turned on. All right, y'all. Final call here to get in the duck race. Final call to get in our fantasy football raffle. I did just see Joe Guy get an Ashton Jeanty shirt. And then I also believe Mark Figueroa got one as well. Joe Guy got it. Mark Figueroa got it. Max. Oh, sorry, Max. It was a different shirt. All right, we're good. We are good. We are good. We are good. We do have a few super chats to be able to go through. So here's what we have left to do. Questions, hashtag Raiders or super chat. Fantasy raffle, duck race. Rock and jock. Slip on Vans or Chucks. Screw the laces, LOL. See, my other problem is I walk to work. So because I walk to work, I feel like I need like good walking shoes. I also have bad knees, Rock and Jock, and I am a Hoka guy. And I did not bring my Hokas today because they are getting cleaned. So I have Adidas right now, but they're just not the right laces. I like these shoes. They're just not the right laces. Like these are like laces for boots, which is why like they're not staying tied. Like they don't like the lace is too thick.
You remember those laces as a kid where like they were just like super spirally and like they were like the laces you didn't have to tie.
Yes. Loved them.
Gotta get a pair.
Loved them. I had them, and my mom allowed me to wear them, and then when I went to my dad's, he was not happy about it. He did not like them. I remember my cousin, she taught me how to tie my shoes, so my dad was like, why, if you know how to tie your shoes, why are you being lazy?
Yeah.
Which I get. I get the aspect of it. Sherlock Lopez, thank you for your hard work. Have a beer on me, brother. Raiders Report #1. See you in June.
Don't have to tempt me. I will go home and have a beer just because of that. You don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Alex and I, we went to a baby shower on would have been Saturday this past week for our friends Zach and Hallie, and like they had like champagne there. They had a few drinks, and to me, if I go to something like that, I only bring this up because again, like I'm either gonna have a drink or they had all these cookies and like a bunch of sweets. The amount of sweets I've eaten over the last 3 days is probably more sweets than I've had in the last month. My body hurts a little bit, but dude, it's so good. So many cookies,
it's nice
man.
In the moment, and then you sit down and you're like, I feel like crap.
I kind of feel like shit right now, but it's good shit. It's a good shit feel. Sherlock, what up, man? Rebel, don't let the electrical substation plague us. What's crazy is like it's a story that's worth talking about.
Dude, the substation is doing overtime. It got to Jed York's brain now. It is doing overtime. It's not just soft tissue injuries anymore.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it was ever soft tissue for Jed York, so.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Made it all hard tissue now.
Only hard tissue for Jed York. Rebel, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm refreshing my phone. Final call to get in the duck race. I am seeing Joey D. You in? Can you run the raffle for me?
Yeah, I'm going to put the QR code up for the duck race as well while I set the wheel up.
Joey D. Avila, you in? I think this name is Celius in, and then also Brian Baca, you in? $20 Venmo to win, $130. We'll probably be here for another like 10 minutes. Yeah. Marshall was asking how much longer I'm going to be live in here for. My guess is about 10 minutes. That's my guess. Could be longer, could be shorter, but 10 minutes is going to be my guess. Lance said smash that like button. I mean, I am a man of my word. If we get to 300 likes, I got to give away more raffle entries.
What are we at right now?
We are at 260 likes.
Oh, we can get to 300 likes easily. While I'm setting up this wheel, I'll take a little bit of extra time. Don't worry. I'll take my sweet time.
Rob, I don't know what you're saying to Joe. Lil Johnson says, Mitch, I say Raiders 28, 49ers 14. Raider Dad's going to go 24-17. Raiders get the dub. Rebel wants to do, Marsh wants to do a segment. Yeah, we, because my studio is being used, though Marshall still has his studio.
Yeah, Marshall has a decent-sized studio.
Yeah,
It might be for the 2 camp setup. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, they could be trying to do something different. All right. So the first thing that y'all are going to see is going to be a giant wheel, okay? And on that wheel, whatever it lands on, you're in the fantasy football league.
These are a lot of names.
So there's going to be a lot of names. We've done a lot of, raffle ticket giveaways this entire month. So we're adding them all up, and we're going to put them on a wheel. After that, okay? After that is when we will do the duck race, which is what you see right here. That's the $20 Venmo for right now, a shot to win $130. Raiders 69.
Nice.
The Jed York Yankers 0.
The Yankers sounds like a baseball team. That sounds like a minor league team.
The Yankers?
Yeah, the Yankers are in town. You want to go catch a game?
You're not wrong. I mean, I actually love minor league baseball team names.
Oh, my God, they're sick.
I was even watching Banana Ball the other day, though I hate to say this, it's definitely less cool now.
I haven't watched it since they did their whole league. They came to Baton Rouge and they reached out to us and we did some work with them, running cameras and shit. It was a fun experience. I don't know what this whole league looks like though, and I haven't really tuned into that. I won't lie.
Yeah, I watched the Little League World Series the other day. I would much rather watch the Little League World Series than any MLB game right now. Any game. The Little League World Series is probably the number one thing I'm watching right now. That would be fun. Imagine putting a bunch of adults on a Little League field. And that's how Banana Ball's played.
You only have to hit it 200 feet.
I mean, but the playing defense would be scary.
Yeah.
That, I think that's actually the element of the game that would be the hardest element. If you're playing shortstop and you have a guy that size hits a line shot at you, good luck.
What would be better watching? People that are actually good at baseball playing on the Little League field, or just putting average Joes, people that are past their prime. It's just these 30 and 40-year-old dads that are just playing on this 200-foot field.
I think it's got to be a mix of everything. And that's sometimes what sports have taught me, where if you do like Banana Ball, if you do Banana Ball over and over and over again, people are going to lose interest.
Yeah, it's just not new anymore. It's not the hot new thing anymore.
Correct. Which may be the same about duck races, right? All right, let's get this wheel spinning. Let's get the wheel spinning. Yeah, Joe Guy was the last one that bought a shirt, so I would say we are. Oh, wait a minute here. Chris McCann. Chris McCann was a new one.
Is it a KR or a CH, Chris? Oh,
CH.
And we got Daniel. Just got a super chat in.
CH for Chris.
Chris McCann, you get 2, and Daniel, you get 1.
Daniel asks, what up with Tonka Hemming? Haven't heard of him lately. How do you feel about our secondary being so young? Anyone particularly you're looking forward to? I mean, the reason why I kind of called out the defensive tackle room is because I agree with you. I haven't really heard anything about Tonka. I haven't really heard anything about the DT room in a few weeks, really. I mean, there's some good, there's some bad. Our secondary being young, I don't mind it, and I don't mind it because I think that they're going to grow together, and I do think good secondaries in the NFL do kind of grow together a little bit, and it is one of the reasons why I think that Seahawks defense with Pete Carroll was so good. They grew and they learned together, and I think teams that go that way are, usually a little bit better. Anyone in particular I'm looking forward to? If we're talking secondary, I mean, I want to see Jermon McCoy more. I think the more and more he gets opportunities, the better and better he's going to be. And if he ends up being the player that we're hoping that he can be, look out, man. I mean, that could be a real game changer for us. All right, fam, let's go.
Ready?
Yep, let's go. Whoever this lands on, you're in my fantasy football league. We've done a lot of $5 raffles. We've given away a lot of entries. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. If this lands on you, I'm going to give you 24 hours to get in contact with me, either Instagram, Twitter, Venmo, at MitchellRens365. Rustin Long! That's an easy one. That's an easy one.
He's always here. He hangs out on game days a lot, too. I know that. So we'll see him
The
Thursday.
August fantasy winner, Rustin Long. That'll be an easy one. Rustin.
Now we get
congratulations to my guy Rustin Long in the fantasy league, which now means the only 2 spots that I would say we have left are basically going to be up to Jerry Danley and LCA. So I'll have to try to figure out what they're going to do. Unless somebody passes them in the August bang race. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Anything's possible.
You're right, and maybe that's my problem. I'm doubting some people, and I shouldn't doubt Raider Nation. I shouldn't doubt Raider Nation, but...
Well, we set up that duck race. We'll pop up Daniel on screen. It is Super Chat up there.
Dude, 16-team league. It's going to be on Sleeper. My question to all y'all, right? You guys are the real ones. I already answered this one, by the way.
You're just getting it up.
No, yeah, you're good. You're good. Would you guys want me to do the draft live on the Raiders Report? Like, think about it if it was... Now, again, like, this would have to be... Like, it's a timing thing. Like, it would be, like, right around the beginning of the season. I could try to go live, or maybe, I just go live, like, on, like, my personal phone or something like that. We do something.
Like, StreamYard it?
Ooh, yeah, it'd probably be the way I would have to do it. It'd probably be the best way to do it. Just go StreamYard. I can look at it. Would you guys be interested if I just said, F it, I'll go live, Raiders Report Fantasy Football Draft? Y for yes, and for no. Blaine Craig says...
control life before Thanksgiving. The draft would be before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, the draft would be... So I get back from my trip on September 6th. Alex and we're taking a little trip September 2nd to September 6th. I mean, if any Raiders news happens, I might just have to make a video from my hotel, but... if you guys would be down to watch it, I just don't know how many people would be down to watch it. Like, that man's on the clock. I don't know. Stro said I'd watch it. All right. I mean, if there'd be enough people that would watch it, I'll consider doing it. But I would just want to know if you guys would watch it or not. All right, I'm going to refresh my phone here. $20 Venmo, shot to win $130 here on the program. Though I need you to add 2 more people for me.
Who we adding?
I need you to add Giuseppe, and I need you to add the Night Devil. What's up, Night Devil? What's up, Night Devil? Which, actually, this kind of reminds me. I know, Fabian, you were asking me about, like, me trying to come out to, like, a new restaurant that you were thinking about, right? I think you were messaging me about. We might have to figure out a way to do it. I'll just have to figure out a way to do it. I know you were asking me, though. I would love to. I mean, I had a great time last time you invited me out. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Winner's going to go home with $150. Rebel said, which vacation spot? Do you guys want to try to guess where Alex and I are going on vacation? You can try to guess. You can try to guess.
Destin, Florida.
No. Though we are looking into going to Florida. I want to rent a car, and I want to rent a car, drive there with Chuck, and I want to go to a beach.
Is that the closest beaches?
Closest, no.
Like, I guess Alabama, maybe?
But there's, like, some other beaches in, like, Bama, like, south, like, Texas. Florida beaches, I thought, looked the nicest, closest that I could get to. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. We're leaving the country.
Ooh.
We're leaving the country. Philip Bogert. Don't go to Ohio. I promise you this. I'm not going to Ohio for vacation.
Give me Mexico.
I can promise you this. Alex definitely ain't going to Ohio for vacation.
There's this really nice trailer park you should check out.
The Night Devil!
No,
number 15!
That's amazing.
The last guy to get in gets the dub.
That's amazing.
The Night Devil. Wow. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Hawaii? Nope.
My guess is Mexico.
You are correct. So Alex has family in Mexico City.
Okay.
So we are going to Mexico City for 4 days.
That should be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Mexico City. I've heard a lot of good things. I mean, I love, like, food. Like, I'm, like, big, like, food, drinks. Though it does look like it's going to rain while we're down there, which kind of stinks.
But I don't know, it hasn't rained here in a while. You might finally get to see some rain.
It kind of rained a little bit this morning when I walked to work.
Yeah, it was very light drizzle.
But, yes, I'm going to Mexico City on the 2nd. September 2nd to the 6th. So if you live in Mexico City, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. All right, guys, I'm getting on out of here. But before I do, this is your last chance to get an Ashton Jeanty shirt at 20% off. Literally, my boss just messaged me, as soon as you end the show, let me know. That way I can, stop the 20% off live. So, Raider Ron, don't drink the unfiltered water. Ron, I promise you this. I will not drink the water from Mexico.
You think people are going there to drink the water?
Yeah. Dude, I don't even, even ice cubes. I don't know. Even ice cubes, I don't know. Congrats to the Night Devil. All right, y'all, I'm hopping on out of here. Shout out to each and every one of y'all that make this show so much fun. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. The next time that you're going to see me live on the Raiders Report was when we go live. 1 hour before kickoff. Raiders up against the San Francisco 49ers. Peace out to Brian. Peace out to Big Raz. Peace out to Rebel. To all the Raider fans out there that make this show a lot of fun. And the biggest news, I think, from today's live show is Ashton Jeanty. It looks like he's going to be good. Not to say he's going to be ready for week 1, but there's at least a chance that he could be ready for week 1. The Raiders going to be prepping. They got a big game against the 49ers. And I don't know about you. I don't give a shit. It's against preseason game. I don't care. It's against the Niners, and I want to get a win. If you want to get a win, give me a Raiders down below. For Lopez, the Chat Sports team, peace out. Enjoy your Tuesday. I'll see you guys game day. Raiders up against the 49ers.